News Talk Radio 610 WIOD presents Neil Rogers. To get in touch and talk, call 751 WIOD in Dade, 524 WIOD in Broward, or 655 and 278 WIOD in the Palm Beaches. Other areas may call collect. The opinions expressed by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily those of the station. Now, here's Neil Rogers on News Talk Radio 610 WIOD.
Now, from the Channel 10 Eyewitness News.
All right, get set to cue, Ann. Hey, where's Ann going? What's she doing with that machine gun? Oh, my God, quick, camera to the white.
She was fed up with reading one story after another about drugs and violence. Now, she wants to right the wrongs and rewrite the news in Ann Bo, starring Ann Bishop.
Don't kill me, please. I'll see you tonight at 5, 6, and 11. Gone.
Ann Bo. She took the news into her own hands.
What are you going to do with me? When I get through with you, there won't be enough of you left to make a good toupee for Don Knowles.
Ann Bo. Starring Ann Bishop. Also starring Carl Weathers as Dwight Lauderdale. And Don Knotts as Don No. There's a stationary front over the Midwest. And Bo, she rewrote the news. And Bo, coming soon.
Oh, yeah, 10:07 at WIOD.
Here we are.
Ladies, well, this is a banner day in the history of the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's 10:05 at WIOD. We have our first official guest. And what is it, 9 weeks?
This is week 9. Mm-hmm.
And you know what they say, what goes around comes around, because this gentleman was sitting here on that very famous Friday. Wasn't it on a Friday?
Yeah.
When you were on Steve's show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Steve said he'd probably come in a little early, probably at 1 or so, and Tom's leaving at 1.
Yeah.
But that's just a coincidence.
Perfect.
I don't want Steve to get a complex, but you do have to leave at 1.
I've just got a new deadline schedule at my new paper, and I have to get out of
Now,
here.
Tom Jicha is the former radio TV editor of the Miami News, and he's going to tell you stories about the Miami News today that'll make your hair curl. And if Howard Kleinberg's out there listening, good luck to you, Howard. And, of course, Tom now is with the Sun Sentinel. Now, let me just, can I get something? Just 1 second. I don't want to say you guys have some work to do over at the Sun
I know
Sentinel.
about that. I can tell you how that happened.
But I want you to look at it.
I know the John
I mean,
Brown
knowing
thing.
it is one thing, but seeing
I'll
it
tell you
in print.
exactly what happened. We had a situation up there because they got word yesterday of what you were doing down here. We had
Really?
Yeah, we had a situation where the person who does the radio listings had left the paper at the end of last week. And being the holiday weekend, someone who didn't know anything about it other than the fact that it had to be in the paper grabbed the file, never bothered to look for the date, just saw a January date, and it could have been 1986 or 87, slapped it in there, and but no, that situation was addressed, and it won't happen again, I assure you. But meanwhile, that's not my responsibility, folks. I don't have to do that anymore.
No, but I just try to point out that some of the people who worked there before never even owned a radio, I think, at the Sun Sentinel, or a TV set.
Well, I don't know. They're nice. They've been awful nice to me.
No, they're wonderful folks. Just like the folks here, they're tremendous. I mean, once in a while they get a little erratic, but by and large, they're great, in spite of all the terrible things you've said about them.
Not me. No, they've been terrific to me. I've never felt so welcome in a place. And the people at the New... See, that's the thing you said about Howard. It wasn't so much Howard. The people at the New...
I like Howard.
It was the Cox executives in Atlanta who really screwed us royally.
But you are going to tell us some great stories about
Well, yeah, there's some interesting news stories as there are in any place.
But, Tom, what is it about newspapers? Now, I pick up this morning's Miami Herald, January 4th, and here's a big ad on the front of the feature section about win tickets to the Orange Bowl. It's Orange Bowl time again. Now, here you can win a pair of grandstand tickets to the Orange Bowl parade, and but you got to enter by January 2nd.
I can tell you exactly what that is. That's what's known in the business as a house ad. What probably happened there was a paid ad that was killed at the last moment, and they keep a pad of ads that, just innocuous ads. Read the Herald Daily, read Carl Hyacin, read this one, read that one, and somebody in the composing room probably that was the ad that fit the hole and was canceled, so they just slapped it on in there. Those things happen.
Well, it makes them look real on top of things.
Oh, yeah. It can happen anywhere. I mean, I've heard ads, though, I don't want to make it tit for tat, but there have been ads on the radio station here for events that had already taken place.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
And
No,
that's what that is just someone
not here,
picking up the wrong card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know that we got anything to talk about today because there's nothing going on in
radio
or TV. And all the people out there are all confused. Much ado about nothing, basically, is what it is.
Oh, no, please. Oh, if I hear that song one more time. You don't understand. I've heard it more than most because I've had to monitor these stations.
See, now, if you do move to Broward, because you're working up there in Fort Lauderdale now at the Sun Sentinel, and if you do have to move to Broward, one of the great things you'll discover is that NBC comes in equally as well on a cable, if you do have cable, on 4 and 5. Exactly the same. There is no technical difference whatsoever. So, like, out of spite, you can turn on 5 a lot when the network programs are on, and just say goodbye to 4, even though Nielsen isn't in your house or anything, but just kind of a psychological boost to get even for that campaign. It is the worst, the most offensive thing, and the one that really gets me is the guy in a leather jacket, the skinny guy in a leather jacket. This is supposed to be comedian, and that guy, and he's all of those spots are nervous and hyper. You notice everybody who's in those spots, by the time you get through with them, if you can stand it, you're so sick to your stomach and nauseous you want to puke.
Well, I just it's not so much the campaign, which really isn't that bad. It's the repetition.
Yeah, over and back to back.
It's almost like a torture.
Yeah.
What are they thinking about over there?
I don't know. And they promised. I did a piece on it last Thursday where they promised we were going to cut them by 50%. Now they either flat out lied about that, or God knows what the campaign might have been if it had been double what it was then.
No, I was watching Letterman last night, and I'm telling you, back to back.
They're still doing it, and apparently it's going to go on at least through the end of the month. And if I had that option, I certainly would turn to Channel 5 because it's just an offensive campaign, the repetition.
All right, before we get into all of that, you got a column in the Sun Sentinel this morning about Sonny Fox. And
which answers a question which I heard was raised here yesterday by Steve, that Tom is not covering radio. Not so.
Where did he get that? Well, you know, Steve has had a rough couple of weeks. Hank gave him all those bum steers on ball games over the weekend. He had a lot of grief on that.
No, I intend to do everything up there that I did at the news, on TV, radio. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we discussed when I went up there for the interview was they were happy that they would get better radio coverage than they've been getting.
Someone who actually owns a radio, in other words.
They desperately need it.
Other than the piece that I did on Sunday on the change of the stations, my first column is on radio.
So what is their story? Now, Sonny called me at home the day after this all happened, and I didn't want to really pry. He told me whatever he wanted to tell me, but I'm still a little bit confused. I know how bad most management is in this business. Most of them are high-grade morons. What is the deal there? The guy had great numbers.
Well,
for
years. If you remember, and you might, the public won't because I generally don't deal in rumors, but there was a big rumor going around, I guess, in October that Sonny was gone the end of the year. I called Sonny and I asked him about it, and he laughed it off, and I called the station, and, they laughed it off. But supposedly the story was that Sonny was getting good numbers, but not good numbers for the kind of money that Sonny was making. That was, this was the rumor. And, but like I say, they both laughed it off at the time, but sure enough, come the last week in December, there's Sonny off the air. Now, neither side is talking a lot because they're both under instructions of attorneys. But from what I can piece together, it was one of these discussions, apparently, that ended with Sonny saying, you can take this job and do what, put it somewhere. And that was all they were waiting for. Now, again, this is strictly my interpretation. That was all they were waiting for, going, okay, you quit, we heard you say it. And that apparently is what the dispute is over.
Well, that sure sounds familiar, doesn't it? In other words, they kind of like gave him an open invitation to leave.
Yeah, and Sonny was probably silly enough to walk into the trap. But again, that's all my interpretation from reading really fine lines between the lines, because
that one-year non-compete that you wrote about, that's never going to hold up.
Well, I only quoted what the station.
No, I understand, but I'm saying that if they think they can keep him off the air in this market, not going to hold up because that's been tested in court before.
Well, it was tested by you, but you were an independent
I'm not talking about me. There have been other ones, and maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months,
Sandy's
and under these
circumstances, Steve's held up.
Not for a year.
No, not for a year, but I mean, I don't know that they had year clauses. I think they had like 90-day clauses. Wasn't Steve off the air for 6 months?
3, I think.
3, was it?
I think 3 to 6 is about as long as any judge.
Well, I think they're outrageous.
Because it's a right to work.
I don't think that they should exist at all. I can understand, I guess, why they have them. A station doesn't want to promote the hell out of somebody and then see him walk across the street. But Jesus, this is America. And if you change, like I changed jobs, and the news did a certain amount of promotion to me right up to the last minute. Of course, they're out of business, but. Here I was. A Friday I was working at the news. Sunday I was working at the Sun Sentinel.
I hear a lot of the problems at Y100 have to do with this new 10-year-old program director they brought in from Chicago.
I don't know too much about him.
Well, we hear stories.
The word is he's just not a great guy. You know what I mean?
Steve Perrin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 8-year-old PD that does those.
I spoke to him the
TV
day
spots.
that the Sonny story came out. You know, he was the one who said that, Sonny said that he didn't resign, and he said anyone who would get that interpretation from the conversation would have to be insane. That, that's among the things that I pieced together. That apparently it was one of those deals where people get mad at each other all the time and just say, all right, that's it, and don't really mean it, but that was all the excuse they needed. I wouldn't be surprised if they have it on tape. I mean,
okay, we can get the radio stuff out of the way, like in the first segment here, because there's not really much going on. The book comes out next Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? Well,
And,
I'll have a column then, I guess Wednesday or Thursday. We have different deadlines at the Sun Sentinel. I'm still getting used to them.
Now, is
But as quickly as I
WOLD
can get
still
it
on the air? Is that station still on the air?
I believe it is. Yeah, have they signed their people the contracts that
I don't know.
they were talking to, or are they
Have
letters
you
of
talked to any of
agreement?
them? Is it a contract or is it a letter of agreement?
I
See,
talked
now, Lee
to-
Fowler was supposed to call us with the inside story, but I have a feeling that somebody got to him.
He called me yesterday, or Doug
Did he?
Young called me yesterday. He wanted me to come on his show, and I said, that I've got a lot of things. I've been getting calls from a lot of people, especially up in the northern market, Palm Beach and Broward, because I'm the new guy up there, I guess. And I said, you'd have to put it off a bit. But I didn't hear from Lee personally.
Well, that makes two of us. Maybe Lee is in hiding now. I don't know. He's been
I'm sure
seeing
he's
everybody
tuned in
else's
today.
shows.
It's amazing.
So
how
they're
he-
still on the air over there, huh? Because
Yeah, as far
their
as I know,
demographics
yeah.
are so ancient.
Well,
that,
we'll see when the book comes out. It's a strange book. How do you interpret the book next week? I mean, you were over there for half the book. You were here for half the book. That's gonna skew both the morning and the midday. You really won't get a rating till the next book.
Yeah,
That's
which is
correct.
kind of nice. Gives us a little breather. It's going to go up some. But the interesting part will not be here, will be the drop at the other place.
Yeah, and to see what happens in the morning
I
where
wanna
your
mention
audience
Zeta.
goes.
I got to say one thing for Zeta. I did all that ragging about the billboards. Have you seen the one on 95 where the Zeta was cut off on the billboard? They've gone 2 stages. They finally, evidently they discovered it themselves, or else they heard me talking about it, which is more likely. And they finally got them to complete the Z and the A. Now they've gone overboard. The Z and the A are sticking off the edges of the billboard, which you don't see that
I know they
very
had
often.
Neil Rogers on the one by the airport.
Long
for
beyond
weeks,
long after I left.
You were gone. So I guess if they figured they paid for it, they'd leave it up there, maybe fool some people. They could tune in for a while anyway. Maybe they catch a 15-minute segment.
But there's nothing else going on. Huh? There's no. She is still dead.
No, and
Dead in the
what we were
water.
talking about before we went on about Waxy apparently is up for sale, which it has been for years.
As long as I've been in the market.
I mean, since Neil was at KAT, but that's that RKO situation. I think that's probably the last or the next to the last RKO station to be sold, isn't it?
Well,
All the others-
WOR is being held up. There are people challenging that.
Well, that's been challenged. What they're looking for is a buyout, probably. That's what they've been doing in these situations. Yeah, it seems every time there's one of these challenge licenses, that's how it winds up. One group buys out the other to take their complaint back. That's what happened with 96X. Remember, a whole bunch of people put in for the licenses, and then, one group just bought out all the others.
Well, it's a game, the thing that goes on with licenses, but, the audience is not in the least bit interested in that.
Yeah, I'm generally for deregulation, but I don't know that there shouldn't be some kind of an anti-trafficking regulation back in where you just can't buy these stations and move them again every 3 or 4 months.
All right, when we come back, I want to do the break now, and when we come back, we got to hear that Spigot and Freeway thing, because somebody sent that to me, and I know that you'll give us about a minute to, it's been a long time since we heard that.
I haven't heard that one in a
It's
while.
not great quality, but we'll do that after the break. And also, before we get into the TV, and I know this is what most of the questions will probably be about today, and we got to talk a little about the Miami News.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little, yeah. I mean, what happened there. Corporate America at play. It's really interesting how you can, go out of business and make $300 million by creating a monopoly.
Now, that wouldn't be this company, would it?
That's right, yeah.
I just mentioned that in passing.
Yeah. Well, maybe,
So that
maybe
if Disney comes in the control room there, gives you a dirty look, you will understand he
mine
probably
would never give me a dirty look.
probably had a call from the Cox lawyers. Anyway, it's 10:18 at WIOD. Time 10:23 at WIOD. Our guest is Tom Jicha, the radio TV writer now for the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel. He finally escaped that little tiny newspaper in Dade, which we'll talk about. Now, we got that all queued up, Roger. And I want to make it clear that our good friend Don Imus at WFAN, formerly WNBC in New York, gives us his blessing to use this stuff. And Johnny Dark also should get a little credit here for intervening and making sure that we could play. Now, the quality on this is mediocre, okay? It's a little muffled, and we're going to get a much clearer copy, but it's the best that we can do.
Concerned about bathhouse doubt? Listen.
Hi. Hello.
water's warm, huh?
I'll say.
You come here often?
Pardon me?
Have you been here before?
No, first time.
What's your name?
Freeway.
Freeway, that's nice. I'm Spigot.
Pleased to meet you, Spigot.
Same here. You here to get clean or what?
Oh, I don't know.
You work around here?
I'm a waiter, but actually I'm an actor, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's tough, isn't it? You probably need to relax.
Oh, I'll say, but, you know, with everything that's in the news and all, it's just...
Hey, you can start relaxing right now, Freeway. I brought something.
Ooh,
Sheath. And Freeway, not just any sheath either. Look.
Wow, gold lame.
Pretty kicky condom, huh? But here's the most important part, Freeway. The Protect label.
Protect, huh? Aren't those endorsed
By the City Council of San Francisco? Absolutely. You know the Protect slogan, don't you?
I sure do.
Certified safe by the city by the bay. Well, what do you say?
Darn, look at that. I dropped the soap again.
Oh.
I'll get it.
You bet your life he will. And with confidence, because Freeway and Spigot have condom sense. Don't let worry spoil those chance meetings and public showers. Always carry Protect.
Protect. Keeping my mind free as can be. Protect. Been down with no apology.
Don't doubt. Know what it's all about. The Protect sheath, so they won't send you a wreath. Protect Condoms, a division of Black Flag House and Garden Pest Control Division, keeping situations safe since 1887.
1026 at WIOD. Thank you, Don and Johnny. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything we're doing, but I promised yesterday we would play it, and we did. Okay, Miami News closed on Saturday. There were all those stories right up till the end, the sale, no sale, all that other stuff.
Hasn't had the best line today. The way they were trying to sell the news was like having, a fancy sports car and trying to sell it without the engine. I mean, once they removed the JOA, the JOA allowed them to strip themselves of all their assets. With JOA, I'm talking newspaper. JOA is Joint Operating Agreement. That's the agreement that allowed the Herald and the News to circumvent antitrust laws to combine their operations so that the News published at the Herald facilities. When that was signed in 1966, the News gave up their own facilities. And it just more or less put them on a lifeline to the Herald. And as soon as you withdrew that lifeline, if someone would have bought the News, I think the Herald had said they would agree to publish the News for a year. They didn't say anything about the other services like sell the advertising, deliver it. And the startup, it would take months, if not years, to put together what you'd need to sell advertising to get the paper delivered. There was never any real likelihood. The morning that they announced that the paper would go under, they told the staff that there's virtually no chance of a sale. That was the day that they announced it. So, were they really sincere in trying to sell it? Why would they want to be? They're going to make maybe $300 million out of it. Not
yeah, but you understand
business.
Cox had to do that so they could pay us to do this show.
I thought that.
I want to apologize to some of those people.
Well, that's
who
what I
worked at
thought.
the news
The figure, when I saw $300 million over 30 years, I said, well, that's roughly what they're paying Neil. I figured it made sense to
Close,
me.
Yeah. But anyway, there were some interesting things you told me before, and I don't want to be an instigator, but you said that when we did this show, and we made plans to do this a long time ago, that it would be all over and you'd be working somewhere else, which, knock on wood, you are. And there were some stories that you wanted to relay, which to me were shocking. I mean, for example, when you used to do the show and go back to the news, there were things.
Oh, I would bounce around from executive office to executive office, getting my fanny whacked. Why did you say this? And why did you say that? And how could you say this? And it wasn't anything really terrible, but the big thing being that they went absolutely nuts anytime I said anything about the Herald. Now, supposedly we were competitors.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well, anytime I said anything negative about the Herald, one time I made some kind of a flip comment about Dick Cape, and, I think I said he was...
one of my favorite people.
Yeah, I forget. It was just like a fun comment. It wasn't anything in... Oh, my God, it was just like the end of the world. I mean... Dave Kraslow had me in his office, and then he referred it to the managing editor, and the managing editor referred it to Howard, and oh my God, it was like the end of the world. I mean, I really feel.
But allegedly, the two papers were competing.
Oh, yeah.
See, this is what really ticked a lot of people off. Most people are not that stupid that even though there was separate ownership, there was this incestuous relationship. And I don't think it's an accident that the I almost passed out when I read in one of the last editions that the circulation had dropped to 48,000.
You know,
and the news. I mean, 48,000. We can get that many people in this block.
Oh yeah, New Times is probably doing close to that. No. The thing about it, that 48,000, there's another example of how they manipulated things. That 48,000 figure was the absolute rock-bottom figure on one bad day during the summer. And they wanted to get it down to that figure. We never really had an opportunity to see the agreement. But during the last few years, we used to joke at the paper that they were trying to put it out of business. And we were joking. But now you have to wonder. And supposedly there was an escape clause at 50,000. Again, these are all hearsay because we none of us ever saw the agreement. And they got it under 50,000, and it's real coincidental that as soon as they got it under 50,000, they came up with this agreement. But the thing that really bothers me is the way they handled it. They've known they were going to put the news out of business since January of 1987, apparently. They renegotiated this deal. And the circumstances that happened. I'll get into that in a second. They renegotiated this deal. Meanwhile, since then, they brought people in from out of town, had people relocate, reporters and editors, and told them, don't worry about 1996. Hey, no problem, because 1996 was supposedly... Oh, please. So, they brought people into town. They allowed people to close on houses like within weeks of when they were going to make this announcement, and they knew they were going to do it. They had someone come down from one of these exit services that kind of holds your hand and tells you things aren't going to be that bad, and they had him in for counseling. And this guy told one of the groups that he was ready to come down here in June, that he had his plane ticket and his bag packed, and he was coming down here and got a call like at 9 o'clock at night, hold off, we're not going to make the announcement yet. And they didn't make the announcement until October. Meanwhile, in the interim, they allowed department heads to buy houses, take 30-year mortgages. It was just, like, the hell with the people. As long as we get our $300 million.
That sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? I was just thinking, don't buy a house.
And the really interesting thing was that the week that the paper went under, it was the week that Forbes released its list of the 400 richest people in America. Well, tied for number 7 and 8 were the Cox sisters, who own this company, at $2.25 billion apiece. Now, how much is enough?
Roger just got nervous when he heard you, so he's going to go and ask for a raise immediately.
$2.25 billion. That's $4.5 billion. That's such a monstrous figure. Just roughly, we just did some figuring in the newsroom that at about 7 or 8%, what you could get in any money market fund, which of course they're doing a lot better with their investments. But if they never made another dime and they're making money hand over fist every day, you could put that into a bank and a money market and get roughly $1 million interest a day, every single day of the year. And here it is. We were the only.
Even Rebecca Paul can't compete with that.
Speaking of that, boy, I'm glad you did that last week. But anyway,
there goes Roger. He's had it.
I saw Rebecca at the Orange Bowl the other night.
She's a big fan of mine now.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad. I was driving the car that day, and I said to myself, how can she just put out? Yeah, they just like kissed her feet, and you're right. They don't pay out a dime, and give me the $27 million and let me
take it to the track and have a good time.
They give you 5% of the prize. Now you can get 7 or 8% in the money market anywhere.
Well, look, it's the biggest sucker bet that ever came down the pike. Let's face it.
Well,
you got to be a moron.
I play, but
like I said,
I know I'm getting ripped off. I mean,
why do you play it? Now,
because it's the only shot I ever have at $27 million.
Okay, but you don't have any shot.
Well,
now look at those numbers last week.
I play $1 a week.
What were they drinking up there in Tallahassee that they come up with 20, 30, 40, and they would have had 50, but there is no 50, so they got 49, What was that all about?
Well, I don't know. That's why you had 5 winners, I guess. But anyway, to get back
How would you like to win $27 million, have the winning ticket and think you're going to win that much, and then find out there are 4 other people that won it?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, the $5 million would be a nice consolation prize, but I said the same thing Sunday morning. But anyway, to get back to the news situation. So here's these women with $2.25 billion apiece.
Who own this radio station.
Yeah, they're making $1 million.
I just mentioned that in passing.
They're making $1 million, or they could be making $1 million a day just in interest. Obviously, they're making a whole lot more than that. Not to mention that they own cable companies that are just cash cows, just gushing money. And for years, the only assets of the Miami News were its employees. They had nothing else. The furniture, everything else is owned by the Herald, the building. We had nothing.
It's all in one room.
So here are the people that have been making this money. They're going to make another $300 million, and they put us out in the street. And then they talk about, I got a nice buyout because I was there 17 years. But you know how classy they were? I would have been there 17 years in April. You know how they figured my severance pay? You think they'd give me 17 years? I got 16.7 years. So
well, that other 0.5.
Yeah,
that could have been
0.3. Yeah,
that could have broke him right there.
Yeah, the 0.3 weeks. You think they would have said, well, 16.7. If you're over 16, we'll give you 17 years. credit. No, I got 16 points. And then they had this deal where if you were over 40 years old and you'd been there more than 7 years, you got up to 1 year's pay for up to 5 years for being over 40, because obviously you're not as marketable when you're over 40. Same deal. I'll be 44 in July. They gave me 3.4 years. I mean, they just really nickel and dime this thing. They're going to make $300 million. Women who are already the 7th and 8th richest people in America, and they nickel and dime this to death. And it's easy to have hindsight, but it's just like my leaving the other place under slightly different circumstances, but horrendous management, and coming over here and making tons more money and working for people who treat me well and being on at more civilized hours, and everything is just so much better. And all I think of every time I think of you being at the Sun Sentinel is how nice it must be to be at a newspaper that has readers. The news was a joke. It wasn't a bad paper, but it was nobody read it. We couldn't get people to read the paper. The news was a good newspaper. At one time, I think Newsweek magazine called it the second best newspaper in America.
Yeah, it was a good paper.
Yeah, and I missed it yesterday.
First of all, it was hard to get in a lot of places. Yeah. Like in Broward, I had to go out of my way to find a.
Well, they made no effort to sell it in Broward, or a minimum effort to sell it in Broward.
All right, let's let Henry stick his 2 cents in here. Henry Barrow standing by with the WIOD news update. It's 10:34, and we'll come right back with Tom Jicha.
Traffic staff to be.
Hey, listen now. This no show would be complete without a little bit of this. We don't want the audience to feel detached from reality. 10:38 at WIOD. Tom Jicha is here, the radio and TV editor for the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel, and let's get into this. We might as well. No, let's not. Let's hold off on 1 second before we talk about that. I want to ask you about, I know you love cable companies just like I do.
Yeah.
In fact, if you move to Broward, hopefully you will have your satellite dish. You'll be able to bring it with you.
That's one of the conditions.
If you have to get Continental cable,
no, I won't move.
You'll blow your brains out. You'll move back to Kendall because it's a nightmare. Not only are they not going to give us GN, which we never had on there, now that Store has taken it away from everybody else, but the thing, 6, for example, some days is like a shadow. The picture is so bad.
Yeah.
12 is good, but it's not what 4 was. In other words, it's not the kind of picture I would expect on a cable company for a major network affiliate.
You had the best idea here the other day. I heard you. Why don't they put it up on the bird? I talked to the new vice president yesterday at Channel 6. He says that's one of the things they're considering.
Well, what's
to consider?
All the
sense in the world.
You know as well as I do because you got a satellite dish.
Yeah.
The T2 or whatever one.
Yeah, they got 5 satellites in a row.
All kinds of things up on there, transponders that they can use. A lot of them are empty.
Yeah, 14.
Let them just put Channel 6 up on there, so it'll cost them some money. But they got the station for a song anyway. They got it for almost nothing. So, and at that point, all the cable companies pick it right up, just like they pick everything else up off the satellite, and you get it clear as a bell no matter where you are. They're going to have to do that.
It makes sense.
Because I'm going to tell you, on Sunday when the changeover came. On Sunday, 6 was so bad in Broward, at least on Continental, that it was like an out-of-town station. It was like trying to watch Toledo on a skip or something. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, that what you said made a lot of sense. And not only, with the cable you talk about WGN, what about Sports Channel where they won't give that to people?
Exactly. This thing that the cable companies are doing to people is such a rip-off, and you've been bitching about it for years. And I told these people out there, I said, Store is going to nail you, man, because he was the first one to tell me that GN is going off. They're going to wind up with TNT, which is an abortion. It's the worst bunch of old crap. And, well, it is now, but this goes back a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And the people just sat back and, I guess this is it, and not enough people protested. How the hell can they do that?
Well,
GN has had Store on there for years.
The salvation down the road just a bit, maybe a lot sooner than people think. After years of being kept out of the business, the telephone company is talking about getting into cable television. That's the cable industry's greatest fear. That's always been the boogeyman in their closet. Because the telephone company, obviously, the telephone has every house in America wired, or just about, and now there's a movement in Congress because Congress is tired of the business cable's been given to people, and they're about ready, it seems, to reconsider whether the telephone company can provide cable services. And when that happens, with the technology of the Ma Bell, you'll be able to get 60, 70, 80, it's just unlimited what the telephone company could do, and they're already into your homes. And that's the thing that the cable companies, once their monopoly goes, they're out of business. If they didn't have monopoly situations in every neighborhood, cable would probably cost half to a third of what it costs now, and they would give you the programs that you wanted, because then they'd have to market it rather than the program. Like all these shop-at-home stations. The reasons they're on is because they're getting a piece of the action there. That's the same reason Sunshine Cable is on instead of Sports Channel, because they got a piece of the action.
And it's the same reason Turner gets everything on.
The religious channels, they're getting a piece of the action. They're getting paid very well to do it. Cable's collecting 3 ways. They collect from you, they collect from the programmer, and they collect from advertising. It's one of the... It's just...
Tom, it's like going to the track and getting, having them take out a percentage for taxes before you go, before you even collect, and then if you cash, over $602, then they tax you again a second time,
Yeah, and then even in New York at OTB, where they hit you a third time, then with a 5% surcharge.
Great.
Well, it's in this morning's Herald that when Store put GN on many years ago, they raised its rates 50 cents to put a little surcharge on the bill.
Yeah, and now
to carry GN, and now that GN is gone, do you think that 50-cent surcharge is going to go away?
They'll probably add another 50 cents for the trouble of taking it off. You see, what happened was Congress deregulated the cable industry, and that just let them charge what they want. All these local ordinances that you can't charge this much, and you have to make basic, and a lot of communities said you have to keep basic services cheap so that older people on fixed incomes could be able to get it, and they made all these promises, the same as they made all these promises about local access, and, we're going to build studios for the community to come in and use it as a soapbox. And as soon as they got in, they just said, screw you. And that's what they've done. And now, though, that's why Congress is ready to reopen the whole thing. And if they let the telephone company in, all the rules change.
And Sunday, when the changeover took place, I got up, 9:30, whatever, and I'm turning on the TV. And I say within 10 minutes after I turned it on, the cable went out. Now, this is the day that everybody's having this traumatic experience, or at least people that are that into it. I'm not, but people whose lives, I guess, are just geared to that tube. And the cable goes out. The sun is shining. There's not, there were not even any pigeons in the sky.
I tried getting somebody on the station on Sunday morning.
But luckily, see, I got rabbit ears in the closet. I've always said, if you got the cable, you got to have a good set of rabbit ears, because if you don't, you get nothing.
Yeah.
You got a blank, you got snow. And I stuck the rabbit ears on there, and where I am, 4, 7, and 10 come in just as good with the rabbit ears as they do on a cable, if not better.
Yeah, and
so I had no problem, but here, and it was out for hours. I don't know about those other poor suckers in Plantation or
and
on
of course
Pompano.
They gave you a refund on...
Of course not. No, they never give you a dime back on all of that outage time.
There's another thing that they get away with, that they're charging you for 30 days service, and if they miss 1-2 days, then you don't get a refund. What other company would be allowed to get away with that?
All right, now let's take some time with this other business, and to me it's ponderous, okay? It's really ponderous. But, that's part of the being ponderous. But people are reacting to this whole thing in such a juvenile way. Like, where am I going to find this program? Don't most people nowadays, have, even if they don't have remote control, they still have a thing on a TV where they switch around on the channels, right?
Yeah, real easy.
Not too complicated. In fact, most people have remote control sets. Now you just flip around until you find a show that you want, and it's not that hard. I mean, there are only a limited number of channels, and there's a very narrow part of the whole band there where the network channels are, where you expect to find whatever you're looking for. But people are just going nuts, and I think they've been conditioned to it by all the hoopla by the local TV stations.
Well, yes and
I think they've created this.
I felt it. I thought it went fairly smoothly. I worked Sunday at the Sunset, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And I think one of the reasons is that people now, because of cable, have become accustomed to finding Channel 7 on Channel 18 and Channel 4 on Channel 29.
Well, he sounds like that guy on that spot, the guy with a leather jacket. 4's on 6, 7's on 9.
Well, you know what? But I mean,
the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah. There are a lot of cable systems that don't carry the stations on the same number that they're on.
Right, sure.
So people have become somewhat accustomed to just looking around. And cable systems are constantly changing the cable services. One week TBS will be on 17, the next week it's on 19, the following week it's on 21. So because of all that, I think people have just gotten accustomed. Where, say, 20 years ago, where the same station was in the same place for all time. It was kind of, you grew up and you learned to be potty trained, and then you learned where the stations were in the dial, and when you died, they were still there. Well, that's not the case anymore, and I think that's helped smooth the transition.
All right, now, can we explain, it's not that complicated, why all of this happened? I mean, there were a couple of stations that were sold, and then Broward and Palm Beach had to have CBS service, which is why 12 changed. It's not that complicated.
No, it really isn't. What happened was 2 years ago, NBC came in and bought Channel 4 in Miami, WTVJ, at the time that carried CBS programming. Obviously, NBC wanted to put their own programs on their own station. They couldn't do it for 2 years because Channel 7 had a contract for NBC programming. So in the meantime, CBS had to find a place to go with its programming because obviously NBC was going to take over Channel 4. CBS first went to Channel 7. They wanted to buy the station. And the owner of the station said to him, no, we're not going to sell you the station. So they pulled him all green. They shot him through the eyeballs. They went and they bought Channel 6 and they stripped him. You know, they stripped him.
Well, I think they wanted Sally Fitz as part of the deal. that was the problem.
On Tuesdays. Yeah. And so they went and they bought Channel 6. Now, the problem with Channel 6 is that it has a very weak signal in a lot of Broward County, or almost all of Broward County. It has a weak signal if you're not on cable, and in parts of Dade County. So then, so that the people in Broward could get CBS programming, they had to go up to Broward, to Palm Beach, and cut a deal with Channel 12, which had been an ABC affiliate, because Channel 12 has a fairly good signal into parts of Broward. So they went to them, they gave them some money and other inducements to switch from ABC to CBS. So when that happened, then ABC had to go looking for a place. They found this new station, Channel 25,
which is not on the cable, by the way.
In lots of Broward. So I found out answering the phone at the paper.
Should be, but it is not.
And but I think under the circumstances probably will be now. But I think 10 is fairly strong into Broward County. It doesn't have a fairly good signal, so that's not the calamity that it could be. So it was all this ripple effect. It all started when NBC bought a CBS station. So everybody had to switch around. Fortunately, they all agreed on the same starting day last Sunday. The way things are done in television, you could have had the chaotic situation where, one went one day and 3 months later another one went. But at least they handled it. No one has lost anything. They might have lost picture quality, which probably be corrected over time. They'll show people how to get a better picture. If you use the same analogy of what happened with the Miami News, what would have happened was they would have bought Channel 4 and then convinced the other two stations to go out of business and we'll all share in my profits, which is what the news did. And then there would have been one station in town, and you would have had to deal with them, and they all would have got rich and fat. The other two stations would have had to do nothing except just share in the profits.
See, the thing that gets me, I don't want to keep harping on the cable, although Continental really bugs me, which is why one of the reasons I'm putting that satellite dish back up and do it right this time. But they give you such inconsistent pictures, and they've got all of these different, that's one of the things, and they got all these different availabilities. Now, Store has only got, 38?
43.
43. We got 61 or 60 slots on Continental Cable.
Yeah.
Okay, 61 slots. And we don't have WGN and never have. Don't have the sports channel and possibly
What are
never
they filling it with?
What they fill with, we've got about a half a dozen shop-at-home channels, and like you say, it's great for them because they get a piece of the action. We've got 2 country and western stations, not just Nashville. We also got this country video station, which nobody watches. We got 2 religious channels. We got just loaded with crap.
Well, what is that?
Loaded with crap.
And then they won't give people the one station that just a tremendous number of people, Sports Channel, want because it has the heat, it has
it's got hockey games,
so what
got
does
everything
that tell
you
you?
want to
Does
see.
that tell you that there's a deal being done in the background? This is America. Those kind of things aren't supposed to happen. Here they are. They create, same as in the newspaper, they created a monopoly, and now they're isn't it to screw the public.
Well, isn't it possible that they could make available a whole series of things, just like they do with the premium channels, and you could pay? In other words, if they claim that it's going to cost them extra to give you GN or a sports channel, can't they just make that a scramble channel, and if you want to pay that extra 50 cents a month or whatever it is?
Well, yeah, but they won't give you a sports channel because they'd like to put sports channel out of business because they own a piece of the action. A lot of cable companies own a piece of the action of the Sunshine Cable Network.
That's what you call your real incestuous relationship.
It's scandalous, and yet they're getting away with it. That's why Congress is beginning to look back into the cable industry, which are totally deregulated. Now they're ready to go back in, and if they let the phone company in, it'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to America.
Okay,
it's American
10 before 11 at WIOD. Tom Jicha is our guest till 1 o'clock, and we'll come back right after this.
On News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
But anyway, 10:55 at WIOD. Tom Jicha is here. Now, let me give these numbers out, because when we come back after the 11 o'clock news, you'll have a couple of hours. And those of you who are confused or have questions, and I'm sure that most of I could be wrong, but I have a feeling today most of it's going to be about these channel changes.
I'll bet you we get more calls complaining about... Yeah.
Just incredible. I don't know what they're thinking about. And what's the guy's name, the new GM over there? Dick Lobo. He called me before I went on the air one morning, and we had, it was fun. He had a good sense of humor. He's a nice guy. Yeah. Likes the show, and he said that we appreciate all the free plugs you've been giving us, and it's funny, et cetera, and so on. And that's great. I said, be sure to say hi to all my good friends over there, because I like most of the people over there. They're really a super group of folks at 4. and I feel bad for them because I know that most of the public is so revolted by this campaign, by the, like you say, by the repetition and just like beating it into the ground and just purposely turning you off to it, you know? And that's,
I couldn't think of it, but wasn't there a commercial campaign a few years ago that did that? Kind of like, I can't believe I ate the whole thing, where the purpose was, in the process of annoying you, they also drummed the message in that there was that immediate product awareness.
But this don't work. I
mean,
this
everybody knows Channel 4. So
is NBC, but also, like I said, some of us in Broward are watching 5 just like out of protest because I just can't handle it.
I ran into Loba the other night at the Orange Bowl, and I was kidding him.
Was he whistling?
No, I said, Dick, when are you going to give us a break and everything? He says, you say that. He said, but I was at the parade last night, and he said, all our people coming down. He says, and when our float come down, people are going to, be happy.
Oh, come on.
He says, everybody knows who we are.
New Year's Eve party at the Freedom Tower. Outside, a Calypso band played the station's theme, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Yeah, and yesterday they had Willard Scott with a bunch of kids, some children's choir singing Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Well, it's got to go anywhere for $3.
That is correct. Absolutely. Okay, here are those numbers now, and they're filling up already. In Dade County, 751.
Right? Am I right?
Try to control yourself. 751 WIOD in Dade, 751-9463, Broward 524 WIOD. And we might even get some calls from Palm Beach, which would be...
No.
Oh, no, we should, because he's with a Sun Sentinel
I'm in that
now,
market
and that Sun Sentinel is just obsessed with Palm Beach.
Well, yeah, we're competing up there. We want to be into Palm Beach.
Well, I wish you guys would be a little more Dade County oriented and give the Herald now a run for their money.
I would like to see that happen, too, but I think that they're doing very well where they are, and I think they really want to establish a beachhead there. And I think the battleground now, the main battleground, is in Palm Beach, and so if there's anyone up there...
yeah, but maybe in the radio TV listings, maybe a few more Dade and Broward mentions, They're obsessed with Palm Beach County radio on those listings. Mm-hmm. Obsessed. In fact, that one I showed you that had that unfortunate John Broward listing, all of the stations except TMI were in Palm Beach. Mm-hmm. Stations that you can't even pick up under their tower, like PBR.
When I go up there. One of the things I found just in 2 days is that they're really amenable to suggestions. Like they've asked me, what do you think we could do with this, and how could we help that? I'm really so happy to be there. I mean, it's like dying and going to heaven for me.
That's
to come
how
out
I
of
felt
a tragedy.
When we came
here. To come out of the tragic situation I was in and to go somewhere where people just welcome you with open arms and make you feel, what can we do to make you happy? It's terrific.
But it worked out well because you needed them and they needed you desperately up there, so it worked out. Okay, and that Palm Beach number, and this is the only line that's not lit, I think, is, why are you laughing? Why are you cackling again?
Tom, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, you'll get used to the Palm Beach line. It's terrific. 655. Oh, you've got to be joking me. What the hell is that?
WIOD.
Oh, come on. Have you noticed this has never stopped? She keeps bringing his mail in constantly through the entire show. For the last hour, she's been bringing more in.
True.
And anyway, that Palm Beach number is 655-WIOD, 655-9463. Our guest is Tom Jicha, the TV and radio editor of the Sun Sentinel in Fort Lauderdale, formerly, of course, with the now-defunct, dead Miami News. Now, you weren't real harsh on the news. I thought you were very kind to him.
There's two newses. There's the people who were there who were all victimized. Even Howard, who was a victim. I mean,
but I can't believe that after you used to be on my show, you'd go back and see they have this image of being so progressive and liberal. And to their credit, I'll never forget.
They never stopped me from coming on the show.
I'm very grateful to them. They wrote that great editorial in my behalf. Yeah. Remember years ago when the Catholic Church was trying to get me off the air, and I appreciate that. I don't want to let any of those people think I forgot it, but...
And as shabbily as they treated us at the end, while the paper was open, I mean, we were very well paid, the most liberal vacation policies I've seen. They did things that people would be out of work. There was one woman there who was dying of cancer. They knew it. She hadn't been there very long, like 6 months before she was diagnosed. They paid her for like a year and a half.
Well, like we say, they're wonderful folks.
Yeah, well, they did, yeah.
Henry Barrow standing by with the 11 o'clock WIOD News, and we'll come back with your calls and Tom Jicha at 11:05.
On News Talk Radio 610 WIOD.
11:05 at WIOD. Now, what I like about these callers is that, like, we had them all lit up before the break, before the news, and like 3 of them disappeared already. But, they got full, rich lives in this town. Okay, we have an open line in Broward, 524 WIOD, and one in Boca, 278 WIOD. Our guest is Tom Jicha, the TV radio editor for the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel. I keep wanting to say the Miami News.
Sun Sentinel.
That is right. So I can say the news without making a mistake, because I keep wanting to say that.
Anything I write appears in both editions.
What is that Fort Lauderdale News? I don't want to get you in trouble already, but that's a bizarre paper.
The news is the afternoon edition.
Oh, I know
of the
that,
Sun
but I mean, it's like the Sun Sentinel with a different front page, isn't it?
Yeah, with later
Basically?
news and updates, and I don't want to really go out on a limb because I've only been there 2 days and I'm
Right.
still feeling my way
Exactly.
around.
We don't want to
But
give you too much trouble on the first appearance.
Yes, I don't want to get in any trouble. No, my understanding is that's like the afternoon part of they publish the Sun Sentinel in the morning and the news in the afternoon. But I think most of the columns and things are in both.
Okay, let's get going here. Miami, hello.
Tom.
Yes.
What was the story with Archdeacon? Has that gotten hallucinogens or what?
What do you mean? Arch, he's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet.
He promised a story to a friend of mine at the Notre Dame game like months ago and never did.
What do you mean he promised the story to him?
Well, they talked about something and he never came through. He promised. He kept calling and saying, we'll do the story. You know, the paper's going to go on after the 31st, and it never did.
Well, a lot of people thought that was going to happen, and maybe Arch was one of them. Arch is a very sincere guy, and one of the things that he did was he would write columns about people that other people would just ignore.
Deerfield, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a lot of people coming in and out of here. I can't talk. Can I just give you my question? You guys can just tell me whether I'm pinhead or this is outrageous. Leadership, Cablevision, Delray.
I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. Leadership, Cablevision, and Delray. I no longer get 4, 6, or 7. Can I just hang up and let you guys tell me if I'm a pinhead or whether that's outrageous?
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't get 4, 6, or 7. What I would do is call one of my neighbors and see if they're not getting it. And
how could you not get 4, 6, or 7 in Delray?
No, well, let's see. You could get, I suppose, you could get CBS on 12, and you could get ABC on 25, and you could get NBC on 5. So I suppose
guess it's possible.
It's possible. I wouldn't think it's the first I've heard of this. I wouldn't say there are so many cables. That's another thing I've learned just a few days I've been in Fort Lauderdale is that there's certainly a lot more cable systems up there in that area than there are in Dade, where there's only really about 5 or 6.
Look at these phones, boy. This is incredible. I guess everybody is burned out on that or has got all the answers on it. 2 lines open in Dade, 751-9463. Evidently, I don't know what it is. And an open line in Broward, 524-WIOD. Don't worry about it, Tom. Don't get a complex.
Well, I'm not.
Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Yeah, Neil.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just me, but I started watching, I've been up in Orlando for the week, and I just started watching last night the Arsenio Hall show, and it seems like every commercial on Channel 7 was public service. Don't they have any sponsors? Did they all leave them? I mean, it was all...
You've stolen my thunder. I took notes on that show last night, and that's one of the things I wrote down. They did that. All they had were PSAs and those 800... What do they call those? By response only? Or
yeah, per inquiry.
Per inquiry, yeah, the 800...
But isn't it that time of year? Isn't it that time of year right after Christmas? Doesn't this happen every year?
Well, yeah, but it was a new program. You would think they'd be able to get at least one ad.
I mean, not one ad. Not
everything
one ad
was a PSA.
at all.
Like I say, you noticed
you
might have a future as a TV writer because I noticed the same thing, and that was one of the things I'm going to write about when I write about the show.
And of course, we all wanted to get that Nina Muscuri album.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Nina Muscuri,
she's a Greek singer, and here she is singing country western.
Yeah, and Love Me Tender, relives royal romances or something. Who is Nina Muscuri? I mean, that's what it's. When you've got advertising, 800 numbers for a best hits of Nina Muscuri album.
And
you're
that's
not
the
doing
only
a lot
ad.
of business.
That was the only ad.
No, there was another best hits one. I wrote it down. I forget what it was, or it was one of those 800 numbers where you called in, maybe something you wax your car with or something. I forget what it was.
Maybe so. But you were talking about Ford doing all their promos. I swear to God, I got so sick of the promo for the news on Channel 7. Every other commercial was their promo for...
Well, we're going to keep our commitment to news just because we're losing NBC.
Yeah,
we're still going to be...
Not in the same league with the Ford spots,
they didn't have the annoying jingle and everything else.
Is that what basically their whole gig is now? Channel 7 is going to be the news station? Mm-hmm. What else?
Well, it is for the time being, and there are a few reasons for that. One is somewhat noble that they'd like to do that, and I think eventually establish themselves as some sort of a cable news supplier or something, and the other for the state of Florida or something. The other is that they just really didn't have time to buy programming. Look at the programs they have around the news.
You know what they say? They didn't have time. I mean, this is not something that...
they didn't realize they were not going to be CBS until this fall.
Oh, really?
I mean, the owner of the station was very sincere. He told his people, "Don't worry, we'll be the CBS affiliate."
He told them what?
He told his people, don't worry, be happy. Yeah, we'll be the CBS affiliate. And He really believed that,
I know.
and he was taken by surprise when this sale was finally announced. I guess it was in August, and they just really didn't have time. They didn't buy the programming. They should have been out making contingency plans, and they weren't. That's why you're getting things like the Streets of San Francisco. I think as the year within the next year, there's just no way it would defy all television tradition for a station to be able to pay for the kind of news operation they're doing on an independent station, especially in a market where the other stations, you have aggressive news outlets. It isn't like, they're just going to outflank everyone else and have the best news in town. They had problems positioning their news when they had NBC's lead-in. And without NBC's lead-in, you're going to have to wonder how they're going to do it. It's great that they're trying to do it, but it'll be amazing if they can make it work.
Okay, we got a mobile in Broward. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate the jingle, and now I'm going out and I'm going to buy a satellite dish so I don't have to hear the jingles anymore.
Good.
Make sure you can put it up in your neighborhood. Like I said, one of the things that's going to be a priority when I start looking for a home in Broward is that it's a neighborhood where I can put my dish up.
Well, they already, in Pompano, it's already a hassle. You have to have a building permit and everything, and they wanted us to put it up in the middle of our deck out back.
Well, those something you can have a lot of problems with those things if you don't check first.
Yeah, but once it's in, what are they going to do?
Well, they'll make you take it down.
No, don't say that. Don't go ahead and put it in without the permit. Trust me, because I already went through that.
Yeah.
And the people that installed it assured me, there's no problem, and we'll take care of everything, and there'll be no problem at all. And within one day, I had a notice from the city of Plantation, and I have taken it down, and now I'm going to get somebody else to do it right and go through all of, get the permit and put it up where it belongs. But believe me, don't go through the expense of buying a dish and putting it in without the permit, because they'll make you take it down in no time. Trust me.
This is another example of people not minding their own business.
For you.
Well, that's
it's more
America
than
for
Pompano.
you.
There are a lot of places.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I hate the jingles. I'm watching Channel 5. The heck with Channel 4. And have a nice day. And hello, Neil.
Hello. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. 1113 at WIOD, an open line at Broward, 524-9463, North Miami Beach. Hello. Okay, good call.
Oh, speaking, that voice just... you know who I got a letter from the other day?
The people at Ford shouldn't feel like that. Yeah, we got a letter from him,
He's
too.
in the Israeli army, and he wanted to know what's going... He's in Israeli intelligence, so you might want to get some money down on the
one
other
of the
side.
things he said in the letter was, be sure don't mention this on the air. But you just did.
No, I just couldn't mention what his unit and things like that, but the fact that he's in the army and that he's there, and...
he sent us a picture.
Yeah. Of them marching through the desert or something
like that.
Something great like that.
Boy.
He showed a picture of crank calls to the Arab, the PLO. Del Rey, hello.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
That guy that called from Delray Beach is right. They did take off 4, 6, and 7, and they gave us instead 2 great channels, the Nostalgia Channel and the Discovery Channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be on the phone, and I'd have my neighbors on the phone.
My husband, the day he found out, absolutely, I've never seen him so incensed, went through the roof and called the... I guess it was the general manager of Leadership who wouldn't budge and said we could get the news on 5, but the Palm Beach stations for news don't really cover Palm Beach, and we like to have a variety. And we were also informed, as of the middle of the year, we're going to have a box to get HBO, which we don't have now. We get it because our TV is cable ready, but we're going to have to get the good old box back, which they've assured us is improved, and pay for a box in order to get HBO.
Oh, there's no limit to the way that they just really give it to people, and that's why you have to really root hard that it's going to come home to roost when the phone company gets involved in cable.
Well, that's encouraging. I heard you talk about that earlier.
I'll tell you what, this is going to be one of the key legislative battles probably of this session of Congress, and the cable company is willing to spend every penny they have to keep them out of it. So if you ever have contact with your congressman or your senator, or you want to contact your congressman and senator, you might remind them that you'd like to see this happen because of the bad, shoddy treatment you've gotten from your cable company.
Well, it's pathetic. I do also want to make a comment about the Sun Sentinel. As far as Palm Beach coverage goes, I love it because as far as the Palm Beach Post is concerned, they are the worst at covering their own home county. And the one that I read, because we're in a business that's related to Palm Beach County, I subscribe to the Sentinel, and I always read the Sentinel. So I know Neil doesn't like it. I love his show, by the way, but I'm thrilled because it's a terrific paper, and I'm glad you're there.
Well, I'm glad to be there. Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Well, I will say this. They got a better sports section in there.
Oh, they got a terrific sports section.
By far. There are other things that I have problems with, but we'll save those for another day. 11:15 at WIOD, an opening in Boca, 278 WIOD, another mobile in Dade. Hello.
Hi, it's Sonny.
Hey, Sonny, how you doing?
Sonny.
Fine. I can't talk about the other subject, but I called as a dish owner. And by the way, thank you. Tom, for that accurate description earlier, or guess of yours. About dishes, real quickly, I sympathize with Neil and everybody. Very good advice. Never, a lot of times people even buy dishes at the flea market. Never have them come out with their contracted laborers and put it up and everything's fine and leave. You're absolutely right. But I want to say, you mentioned incestuous relationships between cable companies and the religious and shopping channels. The same thing applies, don't forget. One of the reasons I had such a difficult time putting my dish in, I had it planted in, 600 pounds of cement every time, 3 different places, having to subscribe to zoning ordinances. One of the reasons you have such a tough time, and I finally beat him, I actually had to redesign my screen enclosure to accommodate the dish around the pool, was the fact that the city, remember, also gets a piece of that cable franchise.
Well, that's true.
And they don't want you putting up dishes and putting them out of business.
Absolutely right.
I hadn't really thought of it. You're right.
Yeah,
I don't
think
it's
very true.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
by the way, Sonny, did you see the piece I had in today?
Yeah, pretty sketchy.
Well, when neither of the parties are talking to you, it's pretty tough to get anything more than that.
Well, like I said, your guest or whatever you want to call it this morning was right on.
Listen, Sonny, I'll be in the office later. Give me a call because I have no way of contacting you when I need a contact, and if you could just help me out on that later today.
Absolutely. And by the way, Neil, Saul's coming to town this weekend.
Great.
All right.
Okay, best of luck, Sonny.
Bye-bye.
Okay, 11:17 at WIOD. We have an open line in Dade, 751-9463, and we'll come back with Tom Jicha and your calls in a second. Right now, I want to tell you about a sensation. 20 after 11 at WIOD. Tom Jicha is here, and we're answering your questions about radio and TV and cable and incestuous relationships.
Sonny Fox.
Tamarack, hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Great.
Hey, Bird.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Okay.
Hey, I got a question about this cable. I got the Continental cable, and it stinks, first of all.
Amen. Amen.
That's for sure. And I got a problem with my picture coming in from there. I got to run everything through my VCR in order to get a decent picture, so I've been getting fed up with it. And I called up cable yesterday to try and get somebody to come out to fix my cable. I get the lady on the phone after waiting about 10 minutes on the hold there, and they set me up for an appointment between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. I have to wait 13 hours around my house for somebody to show up to fix my cable.
And at 5 to 9, you'll get a call saying, we couldn't make it today, we'll be there tomorrow, same time.
Exactly. And I get such an attitude over there. I question, is that the best that you can do? And they say, I'm sorry, sir, that is the best that we can do. And they come with this big attitude, and they got a monopoly over there, and they know it. And they just, like you said, they're screwing the public every chance they get.
You bet. They all are. They're all the same.
And I've talked to managers. I was over in Tampa when I lived over there. I talked to cable people. They got an attitude over there, and I'm just so fed up with it. If I had a choice, I'd do something different. But I don't have a choice, and I like sports, and I have no other choice to watch anything. The regular TV is not that much better. So
and that's what they count on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck to you.
Hey, Neil, I got my tape. It's fantastic, and keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
It's number 3, I think.
What is going to happen now? For the last 3-4 years, I keep reading every once in a while. Accidentally, I'll come across an article about these small satellite dishes. Very, very small. They're going to be easy to install. Put them on the roof. And
they only get a couple of
relatively
channels.
inexpensive.
DBS, direct broadcast satellite.
They only get a couple of channels?
Well, obviously in the size. I mean, if you could get all the channels on something that small, you wouldn't have dishes in people's yards now. You could almost aim it, but that would only pick up like 3 or 4 services. That would be useful for like if you just wanted to get, say, HBO, CNN, ESPN, and something else, and so they would market it and they would direct beam it to you. But they've never figured out a way to do that economically and to make it attractive enough. To do it and to make it work, they'd have to get into millions of homes, and they haven't figured out a way to do that yet.
It's really too bad because people that have never had a satellite or never been in somebody's home or in a bar or someplace where they have a satellite dish don't understand what they're missing.
Well, that's the key to the whole thing.
In 2 areas, not only in content of programming and choice, but in the quality of the picture.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, the quality, you got to understand that your cable company is picking up whatever you've got on your system with a satellite dish.
Yeah, all you are is your own cable company.
And then you're getting it secondhand, going through all of their equipment and through all the lines and underground and underwater and all of this other. And by the time it gets to you, there's a tremendous loss in picture quality. And what I used to love to do when I had the satellite dish, because I still had the cable for basic for local channels, is I'd put on, ESPN, for example.
Yeah.
And I'd watch it direct off the satellite, and then I would flip to ESPN on the cable, and the difference is so dramatic.
Well, I'll tell you how dramatic it is.
Day and night.
Like, I have 3 sets hooked up in my house, and the second and third sets, you can notice the difference. than the one closest to the satellite. So you just consider the loss after you're going over hundreds of miles and either in the air or underground. And that's essentially a satellite owner is nothing more than his own cable company. And he gets to choose what it is he watches. That's what it amounts to.
Now, did Sonny really say you can buy a satellite dish at the flea market?
I heard him say that, but Sonny says things sometimes.
Well, if you got a big pickup truck.
Yeah.
Okay, Mobile in Broward. Hello. Mobile is gone. Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
Neil, want to call about your good job and everything. Listen, the guest you have there as far as the new Sun Sentinel, I don't know if he knows or not, but years ago, the Sun Sentinel was a paper based in Pompano.
Yeah.
And they merged together with the News of Fort Lauderdale, so that's where the name comes about, News Sun Sentinel. They were two separate papers.
Yeah, but one is published in the afternoon and one is published in the morning, as I understand it.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not wrong on that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
They were two different companies. That's why they used the two different names for their identity.
Yeah.
Number 2, glad you made the switch, and listen to you all the time, and I'm a native of Ohio, so we have things in common from the Midwest.
I'm from New York.
Are you from New York?
You can't tell?
Oh, now I can tell.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, thanks for the good job, and, I'm glad to see that the Sun Sentinel's still good with sports. Up in the Midwest, we're used to good sports papers, and the rest of the papers, now, the Miami Herald probably is the world's worst as far as sports.
The Wall Street Journal has a better sports section than the Miami Herald.
They give you scores of games 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, thanks an awful lot, Neil.
Okay, thanks for calling.
And you talk about, there's another situation where the monopoly is just going to make things worse. The Herald makes no effort at all, like the guy says, to get late scores in the paper. I mean, you see games that end at 10:30 and they've got
late race results.
Yeah, 4 races from the dog truck. They don't care because what the hell, they got it all.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in monopoly
Finally,
situations.
this year, it took them 12 years at Pompano when Alan first came here, Alan Finkelson. It took 12 years for them to get the entries in. They used to have it in the street edition, which nobody reads.
Yeah.
But now, finally, you'll see the entries. Nothing else.
Not in my paper.
Huh?
Not in my paper.
Oh, really? Well,
No
maybe
way.
just certain editions.
Maybe
if
in
you're
Broward
lucky.
you get it.
But it's astonishing. And then, of course, the difference, all you got to do if you're a racing fan for both the flats or harness racing, look at the Sun Sentinel sports section, and they've got complete charts on all the Pompano races, every race, and all of them. You'll see all 13 races and a handle and the whole thing. In a Herald, you're lucky if you get the first 10 races,
because
because
if they feel like it, whatever they feel like on any given day.
Probably they got some heavy dates out there.
Well, one of the things that I'm happiest about is that I'm going to be at the Sun Sentinel the day that it passes the Herald as the dominant paper in Florida, and boy, that's going to be. I'll buy the champagne.
Well, it's interesting because their circulation is going up, and the Herald, of course, we all know has been dropping dramatically.
Yeah, well, because they're trying to serve an audience that's not interested in them, and they're not serving the audience that might be interested in them.
Yeah.
No, I'll be there when we
get
past
paper in English. Maybe somebody might read it. Boynton Beach, hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Tom? I got a quick question because I got to run to work, and I'll just listen to the answer on the radio. What do you think the outcome of the Channel 6 attempt to not have WKPX, that high school station, on the air, that renewal thing? They want to prevent them from coming on or for staying on, I guess. And do you think they'll be successful in?
I think probably there'll be some kind of an accommodation where 6 will make it possible for them to do what they want to do without interfering with 6's signal. It's a public relations nightmare for CBS.
But you don't know one way or the other. You don't think?
No, I really don't. I'm not up to speed.
Right now.
I've only ventured into Broward County now 3 days, and I'm really catching up on that kind of thing. That was something I didn't get into that much when I was in Dade.
Yeah, because the Sentinel had a lot of stuff in there about it before you got there, so they've been covering it really well.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that should be Channel 6's worst problem with their signal is the WKPX radio.
Well, that just shows how desperate they are. That they're picking up viewers almost by the home because they've got such big problems. They're conceding 13%, and it's got to be close to double that.
Oh yeah,
maybe they can't get into. And I think you'll see when the ratings come out. First of all, there's no more three station race for news. It's between 4 and 10. And 6 will be fighting to hold off 7 to third place.
But let me ask you something about 7, though. I was saying the other day that I think maybe in the long run they're going to make more money, or they got the potential to make more money as an independent than they did as a network affiliate.
Well, yeah, because especially as
they can sell everything,
and especially as the network share erodes. Remember, the network share goes down every year. It's down to about 60% now, and that's going to keep happening.
I mean, they got as many avails as they want at this point.
Well, they've got to get better programming, and I think what I understand to be their game plan is to be. They've even thought about becoming a superstation, and what they got to do then is get a lot of sports. Now the sports is tied up again because they weren't ready to go in and be what they are now. But if we got a baseball team, and we're talking down the road, I admit, but if they got a baseball team and had 160 baseball games, and when the Heat contract came up for renewal again, they signed that up, that would be the makings of the start of if not a national superstation, maybe a Southeast superstation.
Yeah. Well, they got Sally over there, so that's a good start. Yeah. Okay, it's 11:29 at WIOD. We have an opening in Palm Beach, 655-9463. Miami, hello.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
Good.
Good. First, a fast question. I wonder how come it is that I always hear news about the U.S. military blasting airplanes out of the air, followed immediately by a test of the emergency broadcasting system? Is that coincidence, or are you doing that on purpose to scare the hell out of me?
Paranoia, sir.
Probably.
We like creating paranoia.
Yeah, it's working.
One of the things I enjoy about that emergency broadcast system, a couple of years ago I thought I'd do a piece on it, and I called around to radio station general manager. They don't have the slightest idea what that all means or what would really happen, other than they put that thing on every now and then because the government tells them to. But I think if there was ever a real warning, they'd be so nervous they'd forget to put it on. They'd all be jumping under their desks and running for the men's room. And
well, do you remember when that did happen? They sent over the real warning that Saturday morning. I was on the air when it happened years ago, like 1971. Do you remember that at all?
No, I really don't.
They got the wrong tape.
Wasn't some wild geese? Or?
They sent over and said there has been a nuclear attack, and you are to sign off the air. And many stations across the country did indeed. It was in the old days, they used to send it the same time every week, Saturday morning.
Sounds like something you'll see on Inside Story
Doesn't
one
it?
of these nights.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really had seriously had a question about this cable, just a comment and a couple of questions. I'm a recent refugee from the Washington, D.C. area, and about 2 years ago, they finally decided that the citizens up there were worthy of having cable TV. And the telephone company was in on the bidding process. And I thought it very interesting this should come up because it's so true what you say about the monopolies and the cable companies.
Well, the phone company is the only one who can break that monopoly right now. It's too expensive for anyone to come in and overwire an existing company, but the phone company is already there.
Well, I do know that the companies that were the cable companies, the classic cable companies, were freaked out because the telephone could offer service at a naturally low rate. They artificially lowered their rates, made a bunch of unrealistic performance promises, and relative to rate of hookup, after 1 year, I believe there were 16 residences in the District of Columbia that had cable after 12 months.
Well, New York, there are still parts of New York that don't have it. And Los Angeles has been late in getting it. Chicago's been late in getting all the big cities because all the politicians had to be taken care of.
Yeah, well, I have two questions. I'll let you go. First, are there any local lobbying organizations that you're aware of to which cable customers can complain? No,
only the county cable commissioner, and they're powerless. I've never known them to do anything worthwhile.
The money talks and...
Well, I don't think that's the situation. I just think that they're hamstrung by lack of their own funds and by legislation that pretty much gives the cable companies carte blanche.
Okay, last question. I'll let you go. How do you properly handle requests for refund for what I'll call service interruptus?
You want to know?
Yeah. Same thing you do in the event of nuclear attack.
Yeah, exactly.
The old head between the legs and kiss your ass goodbye. Right.
You got it. Okay, it's 11:32 at WIOD. Tom Jicha's here. We have an open line in Palm Beach, 655-9463, and one in Dade now, 751-WIOD. And I want to tell you about Nutris.
With Neil Rogers on News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
11:36 at WIOD. Our guest till 1 is Tom Jicha, the TV and radio writer for the Fort Lauderdale News and Sun Sentinel, and we'll go to Miami next. Hello.
Morning. Neil, how are you doing today?
Great.
I got a couple comments. About 2 months ago in the Herald, there was an article that asked people to write to their local cable companies and to request a sports channel, which I did. I don't think it'll do any good, but I have Store in Kendall. They're not.
It absolutely will do no good.
And it's out right now, by the way.
Yeah.
And
well, it's probably this inclement weather, you know.
Yeah, probably. Another comment I had is Channel 6, I think, has always had Bush League news. And now that they become a CBS affiliate, it really looks Bush League. And
well, they've had what you would call bush league because they just haven't had the facilities, the money, the equipment, the manpower. You'll see that change gradually. I'm not going to say how good it's going to be because you don't know who they're going to bring in yet, but they'll upgrade their staff by 4, 5, 6 times, and you'll see a change.
do you think there's any chance that Channel 7 can keep the type of news that they have with...
I can't see how it can happen. I just can't see it. News is very expensive to do, and where are they going to get the advertising support for it when the numbers are going to be poor? Because, like I say, if there was a lot of bad news operations in town, that would be the case. But 7 had its hands full with 4 and 10 under the best of circumstances. Now it's going to have to deal with 4 and 10 under the worst of circumstances and a vastly improved Channel 6.
And I hate the promo from Channel 4, and I don't watch it anymore. And
it's just because it'll be really something if we have anybody call in who says they like it. You know, that'll be a miracle.
I like the song, but the promo is kind of...
I would draw the line at this Sunday. After this Sunday, it'll have been an entire week. Everyone will have found every one of their programs, and
want to make any bets?
Yeah. Oh no, it'll keep going.
Ooh, you bet.
But if they do it past this Sunday, anything near the repetition they're doing it now, I would be ready to take some drastic action too.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for calling. 11:38 at WIOD. Bokeh, hello.
Tom, I wanted to comment on your cable question. I spent many years in engineering and management in the cable industry, and I agree wholeheartedly they're arrogant and could use the competition. But I'm afraid the telephone company really isn't in that great of a position to be a competition, because even though it's true, as you say, that they have every house wired for telephone service, the technology just doesn't exist today to use that for broadband cable service.
How long do you figure with their resources it would take Ma Bell to be able to do that?
Well, quite a while, actually. After I got out of it, I bailed out of the cable industry in the late 70s because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the abuse. But since that time, I worked in the telecommunications industry, and the technology is approaching, but it's going to be another 10 years.
I think it would happen a lot quicker than that if they got the go-ahead from the government. And the hysterical way that the cable industry has reacted to just the specter of the phone company getting into it suggests that it's not that far off either.
Well,
they wouldn't be that worried.
Their investment, even if the products were available today, is terrifically high to convert the equipment they would have to do. But the advantage that the telephone companies have is that they are in a much better position to do an overbuild because they own, in a lot of cases, the facilities. They own the underground
and the telephone poles.
And the telephone poles, and that's where their big advantage. In other words, if they were to go into it today, they would build the same type of cable system using the same equipment.
My understanding is, though, that these new fiber optics that they're using make it possible to just transmit so many signals on the wires that are already plugged into your phone that they could get in fairly quickly.
It's true that fiber optics has that capability, but you don't have fiber optics coming. They would have to rewire every home in America with fiber optics. And and also the equipment that they have in their offices, which runs into a company I was working for replaced central office equipment for a very small exchange here in Boca that ran, like $2.5 million, and that's one generation away from video.
Yeah.
And that's just for
but Ma Bell does have the resources to do it more than anyone else.
Agreed, but you'll find in some of the big cities, in Houston, they've done overbuilds and now have 2 cable companies.
That's not going to happen here in Dade. On Dade, Broward, Palm. It's just not. It's just terribly unlikely, and it would take years.
Yeah, well, anyway, it would take years for the phone company, though, too.
Okay, appreciate hearing from you. 11:41 at WIOD, Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Tom, whatever happened to John Marlowe? Seems like he just disappeared. I used to really enjoy reading him.
Yeah, John left the paper about a year ago, and last I heard was planning to spend a lot of his time in London. Doing what, I don't know, but that was the plan. As a matter of fact, U.S. residence is not very far from where I'm sitting right now. It's about a mile from here. It's right on the other side of the bridge.
That's right. I drive past it every day.
I don't know that he's there, though. We've had a couple of Marlowe spottings in the last year. But
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen him in a record store once or twice.
Yeah, there's one or two record stores that he goes to all the time where he's been seen. But I understand he's been wanting to spend a lot of time in London.
He dresses rather interestingly.
Yeah, ballet slippers and machine gun bullets. It's really a strange get-up.
You have a problem with that?
No, I mean, he makes his own fashion style.
Well, when you work at the news, it gets to you after a while.
I'll tell you a funny news story about that. Marlowe used to dress, that was pretty much his outfit. He'd wear black ballet slippers and tight black pants and only a vest, an open stomach and chest, and he'd have this bandolero around him as a belt.
Sure.
And one day... the Cox executives were down for one of their infrequent visits, and they were in with Dave Kraslow, and it was time for them to go back to Atlanta. Kraslow says, well, I'll drop you off the airport, because he lives out towards that way. And he's walking out, and who waltzes in but Marlowe, as they're coming down the hallway with these stuffed shirts from Atlanta, and Marlowe being the guy, he says, hey, Dave, what's happening? And the Cox executives look at him, and they look at each other, and they say to Dave,
Who the hell is that?
and according, as legend has it, Dave spent the entire trip to the airport explaining John Marlowe and what he did at the Miami News.
Well, he's a wonderful person.
Oh, he was,
And I miss
fun
him a
guy.
lot.
I missed him, too. Yeah.
Okay, 17 till noon at WIOD. We got a mobile in Dade. Hello.
Hello, Neil. How you doing this morning?
Good.
Great show. Did anybody catch the blooper in the Miami Herald this morning?
No.
On the comics section, they had about a 5-inch by 6-inch contest application.
Oh, you mean the one I mentioned at the top of the show?
Oh, I didn't catch it, did you?
Yeah, with a contest that's already taken place.
Oh, yeah, that
Right.
one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great show. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't want to rip the Herald because Tom will go back and...
No, I don't think that'll
it's just
happen
a
here.
joke.
They're gonna
It's not
pass
going to
it.
happen
I'm going
over
to be
there.
finally on a newspaper that's going to pass the Miami Herald, and it's going to be the greatest day of my life.
One of the greatest days of my life. I was out at Calder one day. This is not this past summer, but maybe it was, or the previous summer. And it had to be the previous one because it was after we had done that thing about cancel the Herald,
Oh, yeah.
And I met somebody who worked over there, and I can't say who it was, but he said that the number was 23,000 cancellations that they had as a direct
Oh, yeah,
result
and
of my
around the
campaign.
building they just denied it. I
Yeah.
tried to find out. No, it's a handful, and we'll get them all back by the end of the week. But I heard the
Which
same
is why
thing.
people were getting personal letters from Dick Capon. Please reconsider, and we'd love to have you, we at the Herald love you, and
Yeah, I had
all
a
of that
beer with a
crap.
guy one night in the circulation department, too, who said that they were beside themselves. I hadn't heard the number was that high. I had
23,000.
Yeah, I had heard it was way up there, though.
Excellent. In fact, it's not too late to cancel the Herald, folks, if you still want to. Okay, let's go to West Boca. Hello.
Hi.
Or
Neil.
West Boca Cable, whatever, on a Broward line. Where are you calling from?
Oh, yeah. Hi. I'm calling from Broward, but I live in Boca.
Okay.
And I
Well,
got
nothing's perfect,
Yeah, that's true. But I do have some complaints about West Boca, Cablevision anyway. And I don't know if Tom knows about this or not, but I've heard your complaints that the cable goes out for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes overnight. And, if you're working on a major area, I can understand that. But what really irritates me is that I'm watching TV, like a murder mystery or something, it goes out for 5 minutes towards the end.
Yeah.
Or it goes off for 10 minutes. Or
Well,
10
I
minutes later.
guarantee you, as sure as I'm sitting here,
Uh-huh.
that on Super Bowl Sunday, at least one cable system in this area will go out. I mean, that's inevitable.
I was thinking about the poor people who wanted to watch the AFC game on Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Or Sunday, whatever day it was, and the damn thing goes out
But I don't
for hours.
I don't understand. I understand actually for hours if there's a major repair that's needed. But these little 3-minute jabs, 10-minute, 20-minute. I don't understand why it's such a what's happening there. Is it a fluke in the area?
I don't know really the technology, but I'll tell you one thing. There's no excuse for it happening. FP&L, I think, has these commercials where if something goes out, we're right there to get it fixed.
Yeah, right.
And the cable companies are making enough money that they could afford to do that, too. They just don't want to pay the help for the weekends that would require that, that would make it possible that if there was an outage, that it would be very brief.
It's a hell of a monopoly they have.
They got a skeleton
they didn't
staff.
get the circulars out as far as switching the stations and where you could find what. All the TV books had CNN they said it would remain on channel 16. It got switched to 27. So
Yeah.
it took a while to find that. It got switched to 7. Channel 7 is now 27. But, that's just typical of it. I did have some questions for you about the Sun Sentinel.
Yeah.
And thanks, Neil, for letting me ask another question. The coverage of the Sun Sentinel in Palm Beach is pretty poor. But it's light years better than Miami Herald is trying to make inroads.
Yeah.
But my question is that when you have it cut off arbitrarily at Boca for the Palm Beach edition, now thousands of people who live in Boca also work in Broward County. And it seems to me the natural cutoff point would be West Palm, because West Palm and north of that...
Well, I'm really not qualified to answer this because I've only been at the paper a few days.
Right.
But my understanding is that they compete heavily in all of Palm Beach County, and they try and serve all of Palm Beach County. That's my understanding. But again, I've only been there 3 days, and I'm really not qualified to answer.
Yeah, I was just wondering why they cut off the Broward edition.
I just can't answer that question. I don't know.
All right. As far as the... you heard about Channel 25 in Palm Beach County?
Well, I heard about it, yeah. I mean, I wrote about it.
You know, sunk millions of bucks into it.
And they got on a half hour late because the technician overslept. Really? They were supposed
Those engineers, man.
They were
I'll
supposed
tell
to get on at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. They didn't get on until 8:30 because the guy overslept.
Okay, well, I've heard they sunk millions of bucks into it, and they have supposedly state-of-the-art, but I don't know if that's just a buzzword for a new station or...
People used to say modern. Now they say state-of-the-art. You know?
They got Brosmer up there, and I think he'll do a pretty good job.
Yeah, they had a piece in the paper yesterday about words that should be thrown out of the language, spin doctor, and everything. State-of-the-art is right up there. That's the most overused word.
Yeah, it just means new, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and finally on the Channel 7, you know, that's all news now. It seems to me it's gone to a...
No, it's not all news. It's a lot of news.
Filler news, too. It's gone strictly a tabloid style.
Only at that 7 o'clock... Well, that works. Channel 10 has been the #1 station in town doing that.
Yeah, well,
you turn on Channel 10 on any given night, and rape, robbery, murder is going to dominate the...
But I wondered if it's going to oversaturate, because you got Entertainment Tonight with the Inside Story now. You got Channel 7 that's pseudo-syndicated.
Well, wait till next week. You're going to have a current affair at 7 o'clock, and you're going to have Inside Story at 7 o'clock. And there's a new program called Inside Edition or something like that.
And there's the USA Today one, too, which is very similar to Entertainment
So there's going to be 3 of them on there between 7 and 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Hey, listen, they can't overdo. That's what the public is sucking up right now, man. They love it. They want dirt. They want sleaze. That's it.
Right. Well, I hope Tom gets a chance to perhaps get a column of question and answers from local stations.
Well, as a matter of fact, we're going to institute. That was one of the things we discussed, and we are going to institute a question and answer column every week.
That's great.
Every week in the TV book. If you want to send the first question, do it.
That's great, because the only one I know of in the area is Bob. I've forgotten his last
Bob
name.
Michaels. We're going to do the same thing. And if there's anyone out there who has any questions about television or radio, not where they can get in touch with a star,
that's great.
Send them.
Yeah, because that syndicated stuff is just filler and it's crap. But,
no, we're going to do that.
Great to hear it.
Okay, thanks for calling. You bet.
Bye-bye.
It's 11 till noon at WIOD. Our guest is Tom Jicha of the Fort Lauderdale News-Sun Sentinel, and we'll come back with your questions in a second. There's an opening in Broward. If you move quickly, as they say, 524-9463.
We've got twice the traffic, twice the airborne coverage in Dade and Broward, and twice the qualified traffic staff to bring you to work and home twice as fast. Now, more with Neil Rogers on News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
11:53 at WIOD, and we got a WGN story in Broward here. Hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Good.
We fought about 4 or 5 years ago to get WGN reinstated. We had it on Hollywood Cable 1983, and they took it off, and we had a petition signed. Actually, Store Cable sent it out, and we got WGN reinstated at that time for a 55-cent a month increase in our premium. Then about 2 weeks ago, we just found out that they were taking WGN off the cable.
Yeah, I was at my mother's yesterday, and she has Hollywood Cable. And by the way, her picture is horrendous, and no matter how many times she gets them out there, it never gets any better. And she showed me, or I found it on the coffee table. There was a little blue slip. And it was just, like you say, they caught everybody off guard. They gave them the shortest possible notice, and all it said was, WGN is going to be disappearing, and TNT is going to be on it, and that was it.
2 days notice.
Yeah.
Not only that, we think we have information that Store Cable's holding company may have a minority interest in TNT, which makes it.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Well, a lot of cable companies have interest in stations. When Turner had to refinance when he bought MGM, I think 4 or 5 of the biggest cable supply carriers in the country have a piece of the action now. That's standard operating procedure in the cable business.
Well, a few of us from Chicago and some people that have called me since a couple articles were printed in the paper have really tried hard to fight this thing. And I've gotten a lot of calls from a lot of sympathetic people.
Well, good luck. By the way, I have an incestuous relationship now with WGN.
Right.
That's owned by the Tribune Company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got more of those
and the Cubs.
incestuous
What am I going to do when the
relationships,
Mets play the Cubs? Cubs are my
right.
team now. The company owns the Cubs.
Well, anyhow, today at 4 o'clock in front of the Hollywood City Commission, Store Cable has agreed to come forward. I had spoken to the mayor of Hollywood, and she's got it on the agenda today. And I don't know what to expect, but we're going there with...
I'll tell you what you can expect. You can expect lip service, because when push comes to shove, Storer can tell the mayor to go take a flying leap. They'll probably do it a little more diplomatically, but that's what they're going to do.
Well, we're going to see what can come of it, and anybody that's listening from Hollywood that would like to show up, it's at 4 o'clock today at the Hollywood City Commission at 2600 Hollywood Boulevard.
Excellent. Good luck.
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Good luck, because they'll need it, boy, I'll tell you. You know, you do hours and hours and hours on the thing with the cable companies, but like the one caller said, they've got, virtual monopolies, and they've got that. Anybody's got a monopoly has got an arrogant attitude, whether it's the Herald, whether it's the phone company or FP&L or whatever, and, it's like dealing with City Hall, man. You're just banging your head against the wall.
And you'll never get that 50 cents taken off your bill.
Now, they jacked up the charge, that extra 55 cents or whatever it was, but now that they took the channel away from you, don't expect to get the discount
They can charge whatever the traffic will bear.
Yeah.
They have that right.
In fact, somebody was calling, there was a lady called Steve yesterday, and they were talking about the changes with the channels, and she was complaining that she lives in Broward, and she can't get 6 or 12 because she doesn't have cable.
Yeah.
Which is a good point. I mean,
that's the 13% that they're admitting to.
She said she couldn't afford the cable. Now, basic cable years ago used to be $10 a month.
Or less.
Or less, $9.50. Now it's like $21. If I told you my cable bill runs about $62 a month, because I've got all 4 of the movie channels, and I got the basic, and $62 a month for cable is ridiculous. It's more than my phone bill.
And you don't even
usually
get
is.
what you want.
That's correct.
That's why if you buy a dish, if you finance a dish over 3 years, that's about what you'll pay for the dish.
Yeah. Yeah, that is correct. And thank goodness I didn't, I still got my dish in the garage, and I got everything in one piece. Everything is in great shape. And, it's a little bit high. It's about $3,000 for a really good system.
Yeah.
But you can finance it, and if you live in a place where you've got a single-family home and you can get permission, you got to check that out first if the zoning will allow it. It's a great investment.
I've never been happier with an investment I made. Mine
it's
I had my first problem with it when I came back from vacation this year. Apparently there was a lightning strike at my house, and some of the equipment got screwed up, and I was without it for about a week, and I was just beside myself. It was like living without indoor plumbing.
And the things that you get to see, it's like a whole new world. It opens up all these new avenues to you, and you get to see the CNN direct feed where they're sitting there picking their nose and reading the paper.
Yeah, and even with the
stories.
scrambling, to get things descrambled, you can get HBO and Cinemax for a year for $159. That comes to what, about $11 a month for both services?
Right. Okay, let's go to Hollywood. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I congratulate the guy that just called you up about his WGN problem. And yes, the people that...
the Herald had a big thing about it. I mean, just a fact of life. Like, you can't deny it. They've got a real signal problem, and nobody wishes them any ill. I wish it came in crystal clear myself, but it doesn't.
What's bothering them? Because advertisers are beginning to say to them, well, listen, people aren't getting this signal.
And I'm going to say it again. 12 has got a good signal. I mean, maybe I'm picky. I don't know, but I like a real crisp, clear signal. You expect it of a network affiliate, and 12's got a good signal, but it isn't like, for example, 5. Now, 5 I think is closer, as I recall. They got a better signal than 12 does. South.
Well, the lower on the dial you are, the better your signal too.
And 5 comes in just the same as 4. Like I said, there's absolutely, I keep flicking back and forth to try to pick up some little minute nuance. There is no difference whatsoever. They're both crystal clear. Excellent picture. And 12 is good, but it just doesn't have the color and doesn't have the sharpness that you would, for example, that we used to get CBS on 4, and it's annoying, You'd like to have a network affiliate that at least looks like a local station. And
that was the thing that used to separate network affiliates. You could look at a network affiliate and an independent station, you could tell the difference in picture.
Used to.
Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I have a question for Tom. Is it possible that in the second half of the Major League Baseball negotiation contract with cable, that Turner has already possibly nailed down the rights to those 4 games that are going to be televised?
I don't think he's nailed them down, but I think he's a strong player.
Is that why possibly WGN WGN's being dropped?
Oh, no, that has absolutely nothing to do with it. You think these people in Florida here have any insight into what's going on in, big league negotiations in New York behind closed doors? No, they did it because it was self-serving. They got a better deal from Turner. They've already gotten their 50 cents from the subscribers. They're going to keep that anyway. And it's just a question of going for the best deal, and the viewer be damned.
Not being a cable subscriber myself, is there any other attraction to WGN beside the Cubs game?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's a well-programmed independent station.
And they have excellent movies. Very good movies.
Good basketball during the winter. Yeah, the movies are good. And some of the mini-series and things that come along and don't show up here for months show up there first. It's a well-programmed independent station.
Leave it to Beaver. And excellent news. I mean, I realize a lot of people aren't interested in what's going on in Chicago, but nonetheless, if you are from the Midwest or from that area, their news is outstanding.
Do you have any comment about the NBC switch to CBS as far as the baseball 10 games on Sunday are concerned?
NBC was upset about losing the baseball package. CBS bought that package because every year they would get killed while NBC and ABC used the playoffs and the World Series to promote their fall schedule. So CBS, they didn't buy it so much for the value of the games themselves as their use as promotional tools. See, every year now, come October, CBS will have baseball on when the other networks, one, are trying to promote their new shows, which makes it difficult because people are distracted by baseball. And at the same time, during baseball, CBS will be promoting their new shows. That's why they spent a lot more money than the games are worth by themselves.
What do you think about the Breeders' Cup coming up at Gulfstream?
I can't wait.
How are they going to do that with them being only open 50 days?
They're going to be open only 3 days. They're going to open on Friday. The Breeders' Cup will be on Saturday. They'll be open on Sunday, and then they'll go back to Calder, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for calling. Yeah, that's going to be 3 incredible days.
Yeah. Boy, I'm going to have those days off, I'll tell you that.
Also, by the way, the Breeders' Crown in harness racing, they're working on it, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but they're working on having all of the races at Pompano.
No, it's a fact. They're going to have 8 races at Pompano the week before. The Breeders' Cup is November 4th at Gulfstream. The previous Friday and Saturday, I think it's like the 26th and 27th of October, 8 races at Pompano.
That's going to be tremendous. Okay, we have an open line in Broward, 524-WIOD. We don't want to get too sports intensive because somebody gets a little, although he's okay today, he's mellowed out a little bit because you're here. Miami, hello.
Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
Listen, one question. How long did you have your dish up before you had to take it down?
3 or 4 months.
See, because it seems to me that, like 2 years ago, a dish was like, being in Wonderland. You could get everything. But now they've really turned it around to where the dish owners are just as at mercy of the cable companies as everyone else, because you have to pay the $2,500 to $5,000 to get the dish, the $300 to $500 to get the descrambler, and then subscribe to the cable company.
Well, first of all, I don't know any dish that costs $5,000. Second of all, you're right about that. I pay to get HBO Cinemax and the 10 services that I want, the superstations, the 2 CNNs, ESPN. It costs me about $229 a year total, which comes to less than $20 a month. I control it, and on top of that, there's still about 50 or 60 stations which aren't scrambled. And on Sunday, when CBS has 5 or 6 football games, I pick the one I watch, not the one that the local station wants to show me. That's just one example. There's basketball games up.
And there's tons of stuff that are not scrambled. I mean, there's just loads of stuff up there that isn't scrambled.
Oh, I agree. It's a lot when you have. I like to watch the announcers in between plays on commercials to hear their comments about Bush or anyone else. But the thing is I'm on unincorporated Dade, and they don't even offer us cable.
Well, if you're an unincorporated Dade, you can get a satellite dish because that's where I live, and I have no problem.
Right, I get a dish, and now they're gonna. A year or two ago it was great. We could pick up what we wanted, but now I got $2,500 invested in a dish, and now I got to pay the $400 for the descrambler, and then subscribe after the fact. And they don't even offer me their services to begin with.
It's still much, much cheaper over the long haul, and it's much more
But let me get it straight. So in other words, if you live in an unincorporated part of a county...
Well, I don't know if Dade County. I don't know what the rules are in Broward.
All right, so an unincorporated Dade. You don't have to apply for a permit or do any of those things?
No.
In other words,
it's unless there's a specific law against it, it's legal. But some of these communities, just people who can't mind their own business, they're more concerned. They're not concerned with it being an eyesore or anything else. The people across the street have better television than me, and I don't want them to have better television.
Let me tell you something. Mine was my dish up when you were at my house. Was it up?
Yeah, and you could hardly see it.
You couldn't see it. Trust
No.
me. I mean, as you came down my street, you could just from one spot on the street, you could just barely see the top of it. I mean, it's big. It's 9 to 10 foot, 10 feet, I think. But you could just barely see it. And, of course, behind me, there's a lake. So, really, nobody could see it. It wasn't bothering anybody. But, again, these like you say, these municipalities, they got to go through a big song and a dance. You got to get the Homeowners Association to write a letter, and this one a letter, and the president to, sign his autograph on your left cheek and all this other nonsense. And then, get all that
And the bottom line is, where is it any of their business?
Exactly.
All right.
It's on private property, and it's not bothering anybody. But if you're an unincorporated, kiss the ground. Believe me, it's worth it.
It's nice out there, but then again, we don't have the problems with the as soon as it rains or birds fly over,
That's
we lose
correct.
our system.
You got it.
And we can turn from one to another and enjoy them all. And if you miss one at 6 o'clock, you pick it up on the West Coast, at the same time.
And that's the way it should be. If there is program material up there in the sky, as long as you're willing to pay for it, why shouldn't you be able to have your choice of whatever the hell you want? Every home in America should be able to pick and choose whatever they want if they're going to pay for it.
All that they're doing actually is perpetuating the monopoly of the local television stations.
That's it.
Without a doubt.
The only reason that there used to be only 6 or 7 or 8 channels or 5 channels or 3 channels was because that was all there was room for on the dial, not because anyone decided that no market should have more than 3 stations. That was just the way that the spectrum was laid out. That's all you could have without one interfering with another.
Okay, I just wanted to point out to some of the people out there who didn't have dishes that it's not as simple as just putting up a dish. There's a lot more involved.
That is correct.
Well, yeah, but you've really over-exaggerated the situation. First of all, I would
it's
think...
awfully frustrating to, when you've got everything.
First of all, I think right now for under $3,000, and I'm not looking to sell any for any reason, I have my own already, but for under $3,000, you can go out now and get the whole package with a descrambler.
Right, that's right.
For under $3,000, and then for about $200 a year, which is about $400 or $500 less than if you were paying for cable, you can get everything that you want that's scrambled,
and get
including
a super picture,
including a couple of movie services. Like I say, the HBO Cinemax package costs only $159 a year for both. On any cable system, it would cost you well over $200 for either of them.
And let me say this to you: if you've invested a lot of money in a great TV set, and I have 2 really good ones. I got a big screen, then I got a 31-inch Philips. And if you've got a really great piece of equipment, that is, if I can say state of the art or whatever. The picture you're going to get will be worth the investment because it's so much clearer. I mean, I'll never forget the first day that we cranked that thing up. I have never seen a TV picture like it in my life, and then I tune in the first baseball
because
game.
There's no interference
and it was
whatsoever.
like it was in your living room. I mean, it is that clear. But anyway, be that as it may, we're not here to sell satellite dishes, but it sure is a great idea if you can get one. 1217, let's go to North Miami. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Bill, how you doing? How you doing, Bard?
Hey.
Listen, I got a question for you. I don't know if you can answer it. I subscribed for 6 months to the news, okay? And I only got it for 3 months. I paid $30. How do I get my other $15 back?
I would call the circulation department. Well, just call down there and ask them.
1218 at WIOD. We have an open line in Dade, 751-9463.
That was another
come
interesting
back.
thing, though. Just like let me assert this, that they were actually sending people subscription flyers like within a week or 2 of when they had announced they were going to close. Ralph Rennick held one up in the air one night.
Did he?
Yeah. He had gotten one like in the middle of December, and they had announced on December 31st they were going to close.
And did Ralph send in for it? Okay, it's 1218 at WIOD, and we'll come back with Tom Jicha and your calls in a second. I want to tell you again about our good friends at Toyota of Hollywood. We keep telling you about that 3-day trial period on the new cars, trucks, and vans, and it's a hell of a opportunity to make sure you get in the car that's going to fit you. But if you're in the market, but anyway, 21 past noon at WIOD. Getting choked up from the pipe and all, but you notice that there's been no food in here.
No.
And you've lost a lot of weight and you look great, and he's dieting on forced diet. What
Not
do you got?
even lettuce.
What is that?
And just a little...
just a little something, huh?
From Publix.
From Publix, yeah. No, a little sandwich.
A little sandwich and quiet here, minding my own business.
Quieted things down a little bit. Once in a while some stuff shows up, they put it downstairs, and we go down in just a tiny little taste, but other than that we're doing okay. And by the way, Fat Rich is coming tomorrow. Please, only liquid, diet soda, water, stuff like that. No more food, Rich. Boca, hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
What's that Channel 12 thing they've just been playing? You just had that ad. It doesn't sound like the old Channel 4 one?
It is. That's the CBS thing.
Oh, that's what we were having a great debate here yesterday, my compadre and I, and we didn't know why they would be using the same one, but it's...
Well, there you go, because now they're CBS.
I see. Well, that takes a big weight off my shoulders.
You guys have really been discussing the
now,
tough
see, you won't hear that on Channel 4 anymore, but... You will hear this.
But what if Channel 12 starts playing that?
Then we're all in big trouble. Okay?
Big trouble. Boats will be leaving from the coast.
That is correct.
Right.
In fact, if Channel 4 don't stop playing this, boats may be leaving.
Well,
from
they
the
wrote
coast.
the other day, the problem with this is that just at the time when they finally stop with this, don't worry, be happy, CBS is going to be launching their campaign because they only took over the station yesterday, so they've been gone a little bit low-key.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll be ready to make their big splash in another month or two, and God knows what they're going to come up with.
Well, we remember back in the fall, Neil had "Don't Worry, I'm Worried They're Running."
Yeah.
So we're already finished with this thing, because please, something else, please.
Amen.
Well, I guess they ought to run that at least through Inauguration Day, right?
1223 at WIOD. Let's not get into any of that, okay? I noticed that Mike is not, the Duke is not running for re-election in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah, he's going to run for president again. Is that
Sure.
a joke or
Yeah,
what?
that is a joke.
Yeah, maybe if there's a two-man
Well, if they can get him out of that tank.
Carter.
If they get him out of that tank.
Yeah.
Miami, hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yeah.
And Tom. You know, it's amazing. Just as you pick me up, every dog in the neighborhood starts to bark.
Well, they're probably trying to watch one of those channels. I don't want to say which one.
Maybe my voice has a high frequency.
Maybe. Earlier, you made a comment about what can you do, or it's not possible to get a rebate from the company when they don't provide the service. Well, I just want to tell you what I did. I was successful. It took about an hour and a half on the phone, but I have Adelphia cable, Cutler Ridge.
Yeah.
And I was doing some work around the house, and every time I wanted to take a break, over a period of a month, the cable was out. Or it would come on for 30 seconds and be out for 20 and then come back. And it was
Are you sure that Lassie's not on one of your channels right now? Because those dogs are going nuts. That must be it.
But anyway, what I did, I called them up and I told them, look, I want 1 month's back. Why should I pay you for a month? I don't care if it works at 2 o'clock in the morning or when I'm at work during the day.
What did they tell you?
They knocked a month off my bill. Because I told them, if you don't take 1 month off right now, you can take that $600 you get a year, and you can take my order right now to disconnect.
Yeah.
And maybe if people took that type of a line, it would work.
Well, I don't deny that maybe that happened to you, but you're the first one I've heard that happened to.
Well, like I said, I had to really get tough with them and tell them, look, you get $600 a year from me, you're not going to get anything. If you don't give me the money back for the service I paid for.
Yeah, well, the threats do work with them because, like Tom said before, they do get, the per subscriber is really the way they set their rates, and that's what it's all about.
Good to know.
And I know that when I got the satellite dish up and I called, it was back then American Cable, now it's Continental, and I called them and I said I want to cancel all the movie channels. They were just foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, that's why they make their big money.
Well, not only that, but they were afraid I was going to cancel the whole thing, and I said, but I'm going to keep the basic, and that seemed to pacify them. In other words, as long as you just weren't going to dump out and they could count you as a subscriber, they were still pacified.
Well, of course, in theory, they can sell you to somebody as a potential subscriber to the the premium services.
Well, you could always use it as leverage, and then you can always call back before the end of the day and tell them, different. But you can use it as leverage at the time. One other thing I did when I lived in Coconut Grove, we had Miami Cablevision. I can't imagine any cable company being worse than that one.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you now live in a dog town?
I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry
It adds
about.
a little ambiance to the show.
Sounds like the guy. You remember the guy who used to call up and do the dog races when I'd come on?
Well, anyway, in Coconut Grove, where there were less dogs, I had Miami Cablevision. They were so bad, I called them up and I said, I don't want it anymore. So when I brought the box down to get the money back, well, first of all, they won't give you the converter box until you give them $75. I went down there to get the $75.
Yeah, when you give them the box back, it takes months to get the 75
They told
back.
me 6 to 8 weeks. I didn't need the money. It was a principle of it. I said, why can't I get the box till I give you the money? But I can't get the money back for 6 to 8 weeks. They said, that's the way it is. Well, I took the box back out. I went and called them, and spoke to some managers, and I said, listen, I'm going to take this box. I don't want the money. I'm going to take it to the Herald, right on the front steps. I'm going to go in there and tell them what I'm going to do, and I'm going to smash this with a hammer. Maybe, just maybe, they'll be interested enough to print a little something in the paper. And I'm going to, if I get a statement at all, I'm going to encourage other people to do the same. I went back down there the next day, and they gave me a check.
Yeah.
The money immediately.
It's sad that you have to do that, but it works a lot.
That's right. Look at all the money they get to keep all that time and get interest on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye-bye, Neil.
Good luck. Thank you. 27 past noon at WIOD, an open line in Dade, 751-9463. Deerfield, hello.
Good morning, or afternoon now.
Good evening.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyhow, while we're on the subject of cable companies, do you notice that they always are doing things to get new subscribers, but they never give people that have been with them for years any kind of a break, except maybe when the big premium channels have their free weekends.
Yeah, well, that's common business practice in just about any business.
But like
the old story of the prodigal son.
Oh, okay.
And also, here I am spiting Bible parables,
Yeah.
right?
Well, God only knows what's going to... He's mellowed so much since he got out of the...
Born again in Fort Lauderdale.
Evidently.
Say again?
Oh. Not important.
It wasn't that good to repeat a second time.
No, certainly not.
Okay, and are they ever going to figure out what's going on with AM radio down here?
What's going on?
Because I noticed you still have a lot of problems getting stations up in the outer reaches of North Broward like I am with myself, and in some parts even of South Dade and the Keys. When I can go over to the Bahamas and get the station as though I'm standing on top of their tower.
I guess that's directional signals.
Yeah, a big part of the problem is a lot of us have to put, big signal into the water, and I guess we're big in dolphins, but that's about it.
Cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I was over in the Bahamas for a few weeks, and I was getting you better than I've ever heard you before. And when you used to work over on another station on AM, you sounded better then when I was several miles further away from you.
Yeah, well, when I was on a night in that station, I used to drive, when I left there at midnight every night, I used to drive home to Pembroke Pines, and I get up to Pembroke Road, which is about a mile from the tower, and I could barely hear the station anymore. So, it's all that directional business.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, and you have a good day, and someday we'll get all this figured out.
Yeah, if we live long enough. Thanks a lot. 28 past noon at WIOD. We have an open line in Broward. If you move quickly now, 524 WIOD. Tom's going to be here till 1, and then he's going to leave us very quickly. Unfortunately, he had a big interview set up with his friends at Channel 7, but something happened.
With me again, yeah.
That's
really?
Incredible.
Yeah. It doesn't happen more than every time we have one set up.
Palm Beach, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
This is John from Palm Beach.
How you doing, John?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Listen, as far as the cable companies go, if you have an outage, okay, they have to credit you for the days that your cable is out. Okay.
Yeah, but it has to be a whole day, doesn't it?
Right. It has to be a whole. Well, it has to be a whole day.
Yeah, so you got to sit there and monitor it.
Oh no, I mean, if you turn it on in the morning and it's out, and you come home in the evening and it's out, then they have to credit you for it.
Well, I got news for you. They'll never do it on their own. You have to make a note of it and call. And let me tell you, one of the reasons that they get away with it is that most of us dread more than almost anything in the world having to call a cable company because you hear that recording and you're on hold for like an hour, and you almost get the feeling they're doing it intentionally to discourage people from calling and complaining.
You'd rather just pay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like with the telephone company.
Yeah. Yeah, if you called on a mobile phone, it would cost you more for the call than the money.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Since they broke up Ma Bell, when you call a phone company to make any changes now, they are so friendly and so fast and so accommodating, man. It just...
the phone company's always been for a monopoly, a very benevolent monopoly. I mean,
well, now
glad you think so.
It's so competitive that they're trying to keep you as a customer.
I mean, as far as service and reasonable pricing and things like that.
But their attitude has changed a lot since they've got competition. Believe me, when somebody gets competition, they become a lot more humble and a lot more agreeable.
That's right.
Okay.
Quick old fart story. Up in Palm Beach in Cemetery Village up there.
Yeah.
They have a bus that goes to Publix. Okay. They had about 40 old farts on this bus. Okay. They were loading up. The manager of the store came out and stopped them from loading onto the bus and said that there was some shoplifting going on, and he'd like to check the receipts of some of the people that were on the bus. So everybody, listen, Neil, everybody got off the bus, okay? The manager went into the bus and found over $100 worth of groceries laying under the seat.
Wonder how it got there.
Gee,
I wonder how he was able to do that outside the store.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's on their property. It's on their parking lot.
Maybe.
One more thing, Neil.
Yep.
Good day.
Okay. 1231 at WIOD, and opening in that Palm Beach line. That's hot. 655-9463, and we got...
Could you imagine what the liability insurance must be on that bus?
Jeez. Not for driving it, for riding on it.
Yeah.
Broward, hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Let me say it again. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
one more time. Quit listening to the radio, sir. You're on right now, right as we speak.
Okay.
But not much longer.
But it's going to be a real brief call because you keep listening to yourself on delay. Sir.
Hello.
Speak to us.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay.
What?
Sir, what do you want? Okay, that was incredible. It said satellite info on 5, which is why I went to that. I thought it'd be an interesting call. And the guy is, well, maybe he's up there on a dish.
Space.
Yeah,
Space.
he's
You know,
in
you
space.
you mentioned just in passing a few minutes ago, and it's incredible. I know for kids listening to us, it'll really show you that we grew up when we were kids. We only had 3 or 4 channels. Now, they don't think we had a tough.
And you know something? I don't want to get back into the
discussion.
discussion with you because you finally relented a couple of years ago. That debate we had about, whether
Television
TV
being
used to be
better
better
then?
in the old days, and you, being very naive and young, went into that song and a dance about how I was wrong. And we got the book out. We went back night by night, prime time, when there only used to be the 3 networks or whatever.
That's right.
And there was so much better choice back in the old days.
But would you want to go back to that now? I mean, compared to cable now and satellite, what's available? Would you want to go back to that?
Well, not to those programs per se, but to the quality of it, yeah. In other words, I'd rather have 3 great shows to choose from at a given time, almost any time of the day or night, as opposed to having 60 crap channels that I got now.
They were different.
Even when you got the satellite, for example, if there's not a sports event on at a given moment, which is unusual, but if there isn't, you can go from every single one of those birds and all the transponders, and there'll be plenty of times when unless you want to see the guy chopping the onions, on that one channel there, and the guy with the food.
How does he do 24
that's on tape.
hours a
That's
day?
on tape. He's on 24 hours a day. That guy. It's incredible. It is unbelievable. 12:33 at WIOD. April Wortham's got a news update, and we'll come back with our guest Tom Jicha, the radio TV editor of the Fort Lauderdale News-Sun Sentinel, right after this. 12:36 at WIOD. We have an open line in Palm Beach, but you won't get on anyway if you call in there. But just for exercise, 655-9463. Broward County. Hello.
Yes, Neil. How you doing?
Good.
It's a big coincidence you guys are talking about this today because I called your sales office earlier this morning. I'm a satellite dealer. Said, look, I want to get some spots on Neil's show. Ain't nobody got back to me yet.
Really?
No. But I understand you have to take your dish out. I think I got a solution for that. I think you could get a portable dish, okay, that folds up like an umbrella, about a 9-footer. And every time they give you a hassle, you just fold it up and fold it out the next day.
Oh, so in other words, break the laws. You're not the guy that sold me mine, are you?
No.
No. You sound like it.
No,
What is it?
I think the restrictions have to do with permanent fixtures, and this is not a permanent fixture. It's a portable unit.
But then why, if that's the case, then why did you say that? Every time they give you a hassle, fold it up and put it away. Why, if there's nothing illegal about it, why would they give you a hassle?
Well, I don't see why they would give you a hassle. About 2 years ago, it was difficult to pull permits in a lot of different cities. Now we can pull permits.
Like Plantation, right?
We have pulled permits in Plantation.
No, but I'm saying it's not easy. It's a pain in the ass.
It is, but it can be done.
Oh, I know that. I'm going to have it done.
What would you charge now for an outfit? We had a call a little while ago for with a descrambler, 10-foot to 12-foot dish installed.
About 2,800.
Yeah. Yeah, and certainly
and
not
that's
5,000.
a good system.
Yeah.
No, that's right. That's about right.
And that would be with an installed descrambler, right?
Installed descrambler,
Yeah,
sure.
so the guy who said 5,000 and then 400.
Oh, yeah, he's getting carried away.
No, it would be about 2,800.
And if you finance, I financed mine 2,900, and it cost me $106 a month for 3 years, which is a little bit high. But then now my 3 years are up, and all I pay is the very minimal fee for what I get descrambled.
Sure, and it's
and I don't have to deal with cable companies.
It's a much better deal than getting screwed by the cable company.
That is
and
correct.
it's yours for all time.
Initially, I think they were part and parcel with the city commissions and whatnot to put pressure on a lot of dealers who were and customers who were wanting to have dishes.
No more than anything, yeah, but more than anything, it was just people minding other people's business as usual.
That too. So Neil, I hope your sales department calls me back.
I'll lay on him, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. 12:39 at WIOD, and we'll go to Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
How you
Neil,
doing?
Bert.
Yep.
Good luck in your new position, Tom.
Thank you.
Neil, you may not have the worst cable company in the world. I have Jones.
Oh, we got it right here at the station.
I got two stations I can watch the same NBC programming on. I got 2 stations I can watch the same CBS programming on. There's 2 stations on my cable now that are reserved for future programming. They have absolutely nothing on them.
Oh, Kane has your cable company, he told us. Yeah,
Poor guy.
Jones.
Well, I'd like to know
Isn't that what this
what
is?
they're
I'm
not getting
positive.
to get this.
Wait a minute, I'm not done. There's 4 Turner Network stations with the CNNs, TBS, TNT.
Yep.
Okay. They just put on the Sunshine Channel. I called them and asked them why they didn't put the Sports Channel on so we could have the games, the Heat games. They said, well, you can get the Heat games on 33. I said, well, you better tell me where you're getting your TV guide, because it's a little different in mine. You can only get a few. That was their answer to that. They took USA Network off. I said, why did you take USA Network off? They said, well, most of the cable companies around have discontinued USA. They're the only ones that have done it. Unbelievable.
They got a better deal with someone else.
Yeah, I'm sure with TNT they had to put it on, but it's absolutely ridiculous. And I feel as though there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, the thing that bothers me is that when you sign up for something, they give you a list. They give you a sheet, a guide, whatever you want to call it, and it shows you what they have available. And you make an agreement, you give them a deposit, you get the box and the whole thing, and they install it, and that's what you paid for. Then arbitrarily, without asking the customers, although some of them, will say, well, we sent surveys out, and usually they don't even do that, they just arbitrarily change it. Well, to me, that's fraud or close to it, because then you're paying for something that isn't what you agreed to in the first place. So when you sign up, because maybe you're a big Cubs fan, or for whatever reason you want WGN, just to use that as an example, because that's a popular one, and then it disappears arbitrarily with 2 days' notice, that's fraud, because that's not what you're paying for.
They also have a pay-per-view channel that you can't get. If you have it there at the building, they're running a test on the area. They've been running it for
Well,
years.
there's not that much pay-per-view on. If you remember, by the way, going way back, it started on your program, why I got a satellite dish when they took WOR off my cable system.
Yeah.
That's why I got a dish in the first place.
Well, another reason for them putting the Sunshine Channel on was because somebody in Denver made a decision.
No, Sunshine Channel is owned by the cable companies. They have an equity interest in that. Yeah. That's why they put that on instead of Sports Channel, which has just infinitely better programming.
Yeah, and the Sunshine Channel, you get like Olympic badminton and nose picking and there are maybe a couple of shows like they have the Calder Racing Show, but other than that,
going to be on Sports Channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because Papato's on Sports Channel too.
Yeah, Gulfstream's going to be on Sports Channel.
So other than that, Sunshine's one of the big wastes you'll ever see in the history of mankind, and they're foisting it upon us only because they got a vested interest in us.
Well,
they told
me that the Sports Channel is about to lose the rights to the Mets and the Dodgers or something like that. I don't even understand what they're talking about, but that's what they're saying.
Not true. The Dodgers aren't on Sports Channel, and as far as the Mets are concerned, they're not going to lose the Mets because they did lose the Yankees to MSG. That'll be interesting to see if any stations down here pick up MSG. That's a good channel.
Yeah, excellent
That's
channel.
another one you get on the
Meadowlands,
satellite. Yeah, and plus you get the Knicks and you get the Rangers. And now you're going to get the Yankees starting, I think, the year after next. Just about every Yankee game's going to be on. There's just a lot of reasons to get us. Like I say, I'm contemplating a move now because I've moved from Miami to Fort Lauderdale to work. And I just won't move into a place until I know in advance that I can put my dish up.
Well, see, I bought a house and I can't get a satellite dish. What do I do?
Why not?
What can we do?
Why not?
It's against the zoning laws.
What city?
I live out in Davie.
Well, I would go to commission meetings and fight that.
Well, what do we do about these cable companies? I mean, there's nothing we can do. Is that what you're saying? There's nothing to do?
No, there's nothing you can do. No. That's just about what it is. Unless one of the things you can do is get a group of people. If you get 20, 30, 50 people to threaten to cancel, you might get their ear. But single individuals, they won't. Because they know in the long run what you're going to do. You're going to call up, you're going to make threats, and then you're not going to do anything. Because you won't give up what you do have.
And they know that I'm going to only call a certain amount.
If you got a group, it might work a little bit better.
They know that I'm going to only call a certain amount of times and be put on hold for 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Why is it that they won't allow? What is the zoning law that doesn't allow you to put a dish up out there?
I'm not exactly sure, but I called and they said no.
Well, I would check into it because it might be, it might have some restrictions. Do they allow people to put up TV antennas?
First of all, let me say this to you. I don't think that they can totally ban them. I mean, I may be a little fuzzy, but my attorney told me this months ago that ruling that was in Congress last year says that you've got a right to have one. Now, they can make very restrictive rulings that make it pretty tough for you to put it in the right spot and, fit all of the restrictions, but I don't think it's kosher for them just to say you can't have one. So I would check it out, find out what it really is.
Yeah, I think if you put it out of sight where no one could see it from off your property, do they allow TV antennas in Davie?
Yes.
Well, that's a recourse. I know from reading trade papers that because all an antenna is a TV.
Yeah.
All a dish is a TV antenna when push comes to shove. So I don't think that they can just flat out outlaw it. And if I were you, I would check into it.
Okay, thanks.
Good luck. 1244 at WIOD. Now, what is this?
That came with it.
There's a tape.
This is from
and a check for Camilla's house.
Morrow's Nut House in the Galleria.
Oh, yeah. Great folks.
Sent us a bunch of candies. You want a piece of candy? I'm sure it's all dietetic. What do we got? Oh, boy.
Wow. I'll watch. 1245 at WIOD. Let's go to Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
Good.
Well,
We're calling
maybe
to
two.
find out who regulated the FCC. I've had problems with Adelphia Cable since August.
FCC is not involved in cable.
I filed a complaint with the Office of the County Manager, FCC Division, Cable Television, 17th floor. I have the letter in front of me. I was told that Adelphia failed to apply for a permit with FP&L for power supply to my area in Kendall Lakes.
By the way, excuse me 1 second, but Fat Rich called in on the bat line, said he's got a friend in Davie who has a satellite dish, no problem. So if the gentleman who called just before this caller will check it out, he might be able to get one. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So anyway, I was told by Adelphia after outages from August through the end of November that they had failed to apply for their power supply permit from FP&L. I then called the FCC, filed a complaint. They sent me a letter. The FCC tells me today, tough luck.
Yeah, because the FCC is not involved in cable.
Well, who is? Who regulates them? Who would allow somebody to lay cable, charge customers?
The county.
County doesn't care.
Well, that's the problem. That's where we all have this. That's why you hear everybody griping, but we don't have any solutions because they don't care.
But somebody has to. I mean, do they pay kickbacks to the county? Is that what's becoming obvious?
Well,
if they
I don't know.
lay
There's
cable
kickbacks.
charge?
They pay fees, but it's. I don't
Well, they've got to pay kickback. My cable was out the 31st from 3 o'clock, third quarter, the Bears game, through the midday of the 1st. 19 hours.
All you can do is demand a refund for that day or a
They
rebate.
said no. They did not have to give refunds. I think that man was living a fantasy. Who
Call
got
the county
back.
cable office and they'll tell you what your rights
I
are.
did. I've got this guy Mary as a complaint officer.
Yeah, and what'd he say?
Nothing. He sent me the letter. He said nobody investigated why they didn't apply for the permit, and I could take a chance and, deduct that outage from my bill,
Yeah.
but they could turn around and cut my cable off, and I have no choice.
They won't cut your cable off. Not
They
for
won't.
one day. Not especially if they were wrong. I would doubt it because then they'd be losing you as a customer.
It doesn't matter. I live in a complex that pays them a bulk rate yearly. I have to have
And
cable
how are they going to cut off the service?
because of the individual boxes. We
Oh,
have
you live in a different deal altogether then. If you're in what they call I forget the MSD or something they call it, multi-system dwelling or something like
Right.
that. MDS, multi. That's a whole different area, so I'm not as familiar as I am with individual cable. But essentially, negotiating with a cable company is like negotiating interest rates with a loan shark. You've got no leverage. You take what they're offering, or you get lost.
Well, I can understand that. I just find it hard to believe there's nobody in Day County that's concerned that these people are stealing power from other source supplies in the Kendall Lakes area because they failed to apply for a permit that's required by Day County.
Well, you're just talking I don't know, some technical fine point, and I don't think that's where
I
the
wish you
battle's
good
gonna
luck,
be
but
won.
we don't have an
Yeah.
answer. I hate to put it in those terms, but it's frustrating,
Yeah.
ponderous. 1248 at WIOD with Tom Jicha. We'll come back right after this. P2 at WIOD. Tom Jicha's here till 1, so let's get a couple more calls in. Broward, hello. Broward?
Yes, I'm a dealer here in Broward County, satellite industry.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you're doing here as far as the media goes. There's very little media talking about the satellite industry in general. Most of it is about the cable. And I think if there was more of this, we'd have less regulation by your cities.
Yeah, I can barely hear you, sir.
You can barely hear me?
That's better.
Okay, and in answer to the fellow from Davie, there's no laws out there restricting him. We have over 50 customers in that area.
Yeah, I would think so. It just isn't kosher. I mean, it's not constitutional just to make some kind of a blanket law saying you can't have them, period. You can make restrictions, but you can't outlaw them.
As long as we got you on the phone, I told you I am going to be house hunting soon. Is there any area I should stay away from?
Plantation.
Plantation is probably number one public enemy.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I'm
That's
not
why I
going to be
live.
your neighbor then, Neil.
Also, Lighthouse Point. We just completed one in Lighthouse Point where you have a 10-foot dish, which is the norm in this area. You have to bury it 2 foot under the ground.
Well, how does it get a signal then?
Well, you have to go in and dig out a 2-foot trench in order to sink the
Well, I won't be living in Lighthouse Point either.
That's two.
You may be interested up on Federal Highway. There's one up there at Adams Ribs that we had to do that in. And it would have been a lot smarter if we'd have put it out and hid the thing, but that's how their regulations went.
Yeah. Well, the paper's in Central Broward. I'll probably live somewhere in that area. There's nowhere around there that's too bad. How about the city of Fort Lauderdale? How are they?
The city of Fort Lauderdale is not bad, with the exception that they do require an extreme amount of paperwork regarding wind stresses and that type of thing on the dish. And the dish is most dishes weigh under 100 pounds.
Well, I think mine weighs more than that.
Yeah. Most of them look like they do, but they're made out of aluminum. The majority of them are.
Aluminum mesh I have.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you had more media coverage of this, I think that the cities would relax their laws.
Well, I'll be delighted, to bang away at it all I can, because I'm a big advocate of satellites. They're tremendous, of having your own dish and being able to make your own free choice, and, more power to you.
Yeah, and there's no appliance in my home I'd give up before I give the dish. I mean, the dish is the most important appliance I have.
Yeah, out in Plantation, we're getting ready to put one in a commercial establishment, a restaurant, and it's to the point now where they have to submit, the city does, to the cable company to get their approval. Now, that's totally against all laws.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And they want to know what programs they're going to show and this type of thing.
Oh, they're going to show those dirty movies. Actually, there
Right.
aren't that many of those around anymore.
Right.
Two. Yeah, two of them, I think.
Yeah, one is pay-per-view. Well, you got to pay American Ecstasy.
Yeah.
And then there's the Tuxedo, and that's it.
Okay, well, listen, good luck to you, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
12:55 at WIOD. We got a mobile in Dade. Hello.
Yeah, after listening to you guys, I've had enough. I just called City of North Miami, the zoning and variance, to try to find out about what I have to do for a dish.
Yeah.
Of course, they're busy. I got to call back. Let me ask you, Tom.
Yeah.
Do you get good reception on your dish?
The best reception possible. I mean, if you've been listening this morning, you get an absolutely perfect picture. All a cable system is a bunch of dishes. I'm my own cable system.
I see.
You get a picture you just couldn't believe.
And you get the heat, right?
Sure.
Is it hard to find it, like when,
Absolutely not. Southcom 4, transponder 14.
Yeah, unless there are 2 or 3 different satellite guides that you subscribe to, just like TV Guide, every week.
I see.
And they have, in fact, in the middle, in the centerfold, they've got a page that shows you all the different satellites and each transponder and what's on it with a schedule. I mean, unless you're a dodo bird, there's no way in the world
you get to pick it up real quick. Within a week or two, you know where everything is. And not only will you get the heat games that are on here, but sometimes you'll get heat games that aren't on here that are being broadcast to other markets.
Yeah.
Oh. Could you tell me off the air which companies you use?
No, my company's out of business.
Oh. How about you?
No, I wouldn't recommend the one I bought it from, because they put it in, made me all kinds of promises and misrepresentations, and told me that they were going according to the law. And then even after I had the citation, then they said, well, we'll take care of it and we'll get with the city of Plantation. And they lied to me consistently from the day that they put it in. And so now I'm doing business with some other people.
Just make sure that you shop around. I got 3 different price quotes when I got mine that varied by as much as $2,000.
And make sure that if you're not in an unincorporated part of the county, if you're in a city or municipality, make sure that they go according to local, that they get it in writing. They got to get the permit and get it in writing, do everything kosher. Otherwise, you could have a real sorry investment sitting in your garage somewhere.
I see. Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Right on.
Bokeh, hello.
Yes, I have a question, Jicha.
Yeah.
I have a question about a charge on my cable bill. It's called a fee.
A what fee?
A copyright fee. It's 5% of my basic coverage, and it showed up.
I think that does your cable system offer more than 2 superstations?
No, it's leadership in.
How many? Like, do you have TBS?
No,
and
just
WOR?
just HBO.
Oh, well, no. The copyright fee, there was a 3.75% charge for any system that carried more than 2 superstations. That could be it.
Oh, well, I called them, and they said to me, well, the federal government's charging them a copyright fee, so they're passing it on to
Well,
me.
that's part of their cost of doing business. I mean, it doesn't matter. They don't have to explain it. They can charge whatever they want.
Yeah, like when you get your bill from FP&L every month, do you question the fuel adjustment charge or anything like that? I mean, it's whatever they put on there,
Oh, well, they had said it's the federal government, not state, local.
Nah, I exposed my cable company long before I got a dish. I got a letter one time saying that because HBO had raised the price of programming, that they had to raise my HBO bill by 2 months, and only because I was in the business and covered it. I knew that was a lie. So I called HBO to make sure. They said, sure, they hadn't raised their price to the dealers in 3 years. I wrote a column about it, and they admitted it, but they never took the $2 charge off. They just made it up.
In thinking, it seems to me, and again, it's a major expense to spend $2,500, $3,000, whatever, for a satellite dish. But a lot of people have been frustrated and asking, what can we do about these damn cable companies? They're not giving us what we want. Seems to me if more people start going out and buying dishes and doing it legally and properly, that the cable companies are finally going to get the message that, hey, we better, cut it out.
And one of the unfortunate things even about this conversation is, we talk about legal and illegally, like you were doing something wrong. There's no reason satellite dishes shouldn't be legal everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a question of people minding other people's business. Oh, I don't want to look at that on my block. That's the only reason.
See, City of Plantation, for example, I got this enormous pothole that I keep talking about on the air every day until I get over there and fix it on my street that could just totally destroy your car, They don't seem to be able to do that. And as I look across the lake, for months back there, the houses had all the paint blotched off, and it was just a horrible eyesore that everybody could see. But God forbid that somebody should have a satellite dish up there and be able to get something that they don't.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Let's make
it's
a big
jealousy.
Okay, well, listen, we're at the end of the line. Tom, thank you very much.
It's been a real pleasure.
And, good luck at the Sun Sentinel.
Thank you.
And at Gulfstream.
I'll see you there.
I bet you will. Tom Jicha has been our guest, and you'll look for his column how often?
Almost every day once I get into
news and
this
Sun
week
Sentinel
it's
in
a
Fort
little
Lauderdale.
behind catching up. But
excellent. Okay, news upcoming at 1 o'clock with April Wortham, and we'll come back with an open hour at 1:05. Steve will be here as always from 2 to 6 this afternoon.
Call 751-WIOD in Dade, 524-WIOD in Broward, or 655 and 278 WIOD in the Palm Beaches. Other areas may call collect. The opinions expressed by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily those of the station. Now, here's Neil Rogers on News Talk Radio 610 WIOD.
It's the little old lady from Hialeah. It's the little old lady from Hialeah. Granny slow, granny slow, with a baseball cap and a silk gardenia. Granny slow, granny slow, granny slow, hidden in a rickety rundown shack. She's got a mid-condition 68 Cadillac. Now I can't think of no one who could make me meaner than that little old lady from Hialeah. She crawls and she stalls, she's a real old fart. She's the terror of Hallandale Beach Boulevard. She's a little old lady from Hialeah. It's the little old lady from Hialeah. Granny slow, granny slow, granny slow. She'll cut you off and act like she's never seen ya. Granny slow, granny slow, granny slow. Don't try and blow your horn to agitate her, 'cause she'll only keep sucking on a respirator. Now I can't think of no one who would make me meaner than that little old lady from Hialeah. She crawls and she stalls, she's a real old fart. She's the terror of Hallandale Beach Boulevard. She's a little old lady from Hialeah. It's the little old lady from Hialeah. Granny slow, granny slow, granny slow. It's the little old lady from Hialeah. Granny slow, granny slow, granny slow. It's the little old lady from Hialeah.
106 at WIOD, and again we thank Tom Jicha for a great 3 hours. And Tom usually stays the entire show, but he had to zip back all the way up there to Fort Lauderdale. Good luck, Tom. Stay off 95. Get on that turnpike. Trust me.
Ooh.
Boy, 95. Once you get up into that mess around Griffin and State Road 84 and in there, forget it. Forget it. Anyway, we got an hour to go between now and 2, and of course, the obvious question is, what do we do now?
Well, maybe Spencer will come in.
Oh, yeah, Spencer is here, and
haven't seen hide
he
nor
was
hair.
doing a land office business out there. He must have been busy as hell. I'm glad you mentioned that, because he begged me and pleaded me, be sure to mention every day on the air that I'm out there, and, I don't know what that means. I guess for the people in the building.
I guess.
Who may be listening to the show.
Well, I guess anyone could drop by and Spencer would watch the gun.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't think so. We don't want guests in the parking lot. In fact, this morning I had a search for a parking spot out there, and then finally somebody pulled out on the side.
You're
I will not park in the back. It's not that I don't like our friends at Channel 7. I just don't like all that bird stuff on my car, okay?
Now, my car was devastated.
Because what would be the sense of getting your car washed and then going out and finding 4 pounds of stuff on it, you know what I'm saying?
It's unbelievable sometimes.
One thing about the birds that fly out in this place, man, they are well fed. Trust me. Stuffed to capacity and then some. Okay, now we got a whole bunch of calls here, and I don't understand why, because Tom is gone. Okay, let me... See, this happens. We don't have guests on the show anymore very often, but always when you have a guest for part of the show, and then they leave, no, you don't have to... It'll be more fun to check them out. But
questions for Tom is what it is.
But you just want to announce... Because when you say goodbye, and it was nice having you here, you assume that the average person with an IQ of over 2 understands that they're leaving now, okay, that they're gone. And I would say that 9 times out of 10, you'd have a guest, you get a bunch of calls left, and you say, hey, look at this, they want to talk to me, you know. And, well, I have a question for Joe, you know. Well, Joe left an hour and a half ago, you know, that kind of thing.
They always say that.
But we'll see. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Yes, Neil?
You got a question for Tom? It's just a joke, sir.
Okay. Neil?
Yeah.
Listen, I just wanted to say I had talked with one of the engineers at Channel 6, and they're investigating putting up another tower in northern Broward or southern Palm Beach County, directional only.
South.
So there would be no signal interference for Channel 6, and I wanted to mention that to Tom before he left, but he got out of there.
Well, I'm sure he's listening right now.
I could get on, and they have got tentative approval from the FCC, and they're now investigating with the FAA as to a site, in other words, a low-powered transmitter that would beam back toward Fort Lauderdale and Miami. That would eliminate these signal problems.
Excellent.
And I just wanted to share that information with you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Okay. Now, that would be great, because that would solve the problem.
Well, they used to have that, 33 and 59.
Although 33 was
I know.
Not a quality picture either.
I know.
It wasn't what 33 is now, which is a high-power UHF.
I know.
Okay, let's give those numbers out. We just got an hour to go between now and 2 o'clock, or 51 minutes and counting, at 751 WIOD in Dade, 524 WIOD in Broward.
50 now. 50.
49. Not that we're counting or anything. 278 WIOD in Boca and Delray, and of course on that Palm Beach. Look at that. The Palm Beach line rang just once.
Line checker.
I hate the way these lines blink. I'm telling you, somewhere along the line, and I know they've heard me bitching about this ever since we came here, but it takes all the fun out of life, is the way this instrument blinks. I've never in my life seen a phone system where they, like, tinkle a little bit. You know, they tweak a little, and then they go out, and they can't all ring at the same time.
No.
You could have 4,000. Here's a message. It says they will never change the phone. Is there some special reason for that we don't know?
Yeah.
What is the reason? Just in case you hadn't already surmised, Nick is back today. It's customized. Well, I don't care if it's customized or not. If they could customize it to be crappy like this, they could customize it and do it right. Because I know they're changing the phone system in all the big shots offices out there in the rest of the building. They either have done it or they're in the process of doing it and changing to a real phone system that works. But I guess, we're a talk show. We just do a show with phones on the air. I guess that isn't all that important.
No.
Okay, whatever you say. Okay, well, look at that. We still got those same 4 deadly calls on there that we had before I gave the numbers again, so I had a feeling in the pit of my stomach. All right, let's take this mobile here. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
How you doing?
I just had to say something about store cable. I recently moved from North Miami to Coral Springs, and I had a refund due to me. And I got a letter from stores saying that if you want your refund, since it's less than $5, you have to specifically send them a letter. If it's more than $5, they'll send it to you. But if it's less, you've got to write them and ask them to send it to you. And I just had to
And
say...
did you have to say pretty please in the letter?
Yes, you did. And I said pretty please and a lot more. But, I know it's a little thing, but it really makes me irate because they've had the money for, 3-4 years already.
Yeah.
And I've always paid my bills, and it pissed me off.
Yeah, the bottom line is cable companies really suck. That's the bottom line.
Yep.
I don't. If there's a really good one out there that really treats the customers well and gives them programming that most of the people want, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if it was 88 cents more, they would have sent it to me without a letter.
Yeah. Great.
Well, anyway, I don't want to take any more time. I just had to say that.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
12 minutes after 1 at WIOD, and we're down to 3 now. Let's see if we can get clear the board. Okay?
Oh, good. We can start.
Well, these people are, one-dimensional. They get off on a thing, and then right away that's the only thing they can do, 524. I'm going to give them real slowly.
I enjoyed that moment of silence. I like that.
524.
Nice.
WIOD in Broward. I did have a good hate letter from Palm Beach. I threw it in the basket.
Oh. That's unique.
That I might, because it looks like it's going to be desperate between now and two.
Dig it out.
I don't want Tom to feel bad, okay, now that he left us. No, he's a great guy. He's given us a lot of time. And I've never been able to understand when he used to come in for 4 hours on all the shows, and that's a long.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, when you're getting paid for it, that's one thing, but to come in and, sacrifice your life to the audience for 4 hours, that's a long haul.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great letter. It's about this...
Yeah, what's it about?
Old fart couple in Palm Beach, and they were trying to find a parking space. They were probably cutting these kids off and stealing their parking space. And the kids got out of the car, and they started calling them douchebags and old farts. And, of course, they're immediately blaming me. This is a copy of a letter sent to our illustrious... Oh, here it is.
Great.
Yeah.
This will be worth it.
Look at the copy. And look at the handwriting.
This will be worth it.
Looks like Methuselah in drag, okay? That's what the handwriting looks like. And I'm going to try my best to decipher it. Okay. Now, as soon as I said that, almost all the lines are lit up. Dear sir, this is to Bill Spike Wise, care of WIOD. This is from Joseph Feinberg in West Palm Beach. And Joseph sent me this copy, so I'm not reading anything out of anybody else's mailbox. Dear sir, I want to let you know of an experience I had with a broadcast talk program that emulates, not emanates, but maybe it is, no, EMUL, emulates from your station. Emulates.
Oh,
the host of this program is a Neil Rogers. Not Neil Rogers, but a Neil Rogers. My wife and I were looking for a parking space in a Delray shopping center. I inadvertently took a space that was about to be taken by 2 young men who may have been waiting for same. Inadvertently, of course. Before I could back out and give the space to them and wave apologizing, they both shouted old fart into my wife, who was sitting with the car window closed, could not hear, being called douchebag. They scattered away. How did 2 people scatter away? They scattered away, racing their motor as they left. A couple who witnessed the incident told us that it was the influence of a radio talk show host, a Neil Rogers, who was broadcasting at the time. As my wife shopped, I listened to this program on WIOD. I am not a prude, but his humor and choice of songs were quite shocking to hear early in the day. I guess later in the day it wouldn't have been so shocking. A Candy Bar song was X-rated plus. But the real venom came a little later. He started to berate old people. His labels of old farts and douchebags was used over and over again. For the next few weeks, listen to this. I listened to WIOD 10 to 2, and I could not believe what I was hearing. A Paul Goebbels type. I thought it was Joseph Goebbels, but what do I know about history? Right. A Paul Goebbels type arousing young people to hate any senior citizen who might come their way. Callers were telling of their episodes with old farts and douchebags and how they let the old folks know their place. What prompted this letter was a remark he made to an older person who called and complained of this type of radio brutality and tried to reason with Neil Rogers, but was told by this obvious sick host, quoting, "Don't worry, you old fart, you'll be in the ground soon and I'll still be on the radio. For your station and your advertisers and for yourself, please do something about this." Signed, Joseph in West Palm Beach.
Quite a letter.
Joseph, who listened for a few weeks after this untoward episode that he had up there in that parking lot when he had inadvertently took some young people's space, okay?
Sounded like he was in the wrong.
Now, I don't know you, Joseph, but I did read your letter, and I can't assume that you're a douchebag or an old fart, but I must say that your sense of humor on a scale of 0 is minus infinity. And also, I'd suggest next time you want to take somebody else's parking space, think a second time, okay, Joe? Cut the crap. 117 at WIOD. Want to talk about
when are these men going to stop hurting us so desperately? And the Lord spoke to me and said, Tammy, as long as those stars still shine in the sky, I'm still God, and I still rule.
20 minutes after 1 at WIOD. We have an opening in Broward. If you move real fast now, I bet you'll be the first one to get in. You watch. 524 WIOD. We got a mobile in Boca. Hello. Okay, good call. Excellent.
Best one of the day so far.
Douchebags in Boca, man. What a bunch of cheapskates. You know, 35 cents a minute. What do you have to wait, like 2-3 minutes? A buck. The best buck you probably ever spent. Probably a French-Canadian calling from up there in Boca. Deerfield on 5. My 5 is like blank, it says here. Miami, hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I'm calling from the city of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask a question related to the big switch about for the TV station.
Well, Tom isn't here anymore, dear.
Well, maybe
tried
you
to
can
make that
answer
impression.
me.
Okay, I'll try my best.
I have a special problem.
I bet.
My problem is that ever since the big switch, my reception on Channel 4 has gone kaput.
On a cable?
No, I'm not on cable.
Well, then why Channel 4 signal isn't any different than it was before?
I've adjusted my antenna on the roof.
Trust me, dear, I get Channel 4 as clear as a bell.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed with their
the
power,
station.
with their signal. The only thing that changed was their network affiliation.
And now I can't
So
get
I think
Channel
you
4.
must be hallucinating. Well, I would check out your antenna.
Yeah, something with
what
you.
What kind of antenna have you got? A rabbit ears?
No, I've got an outdoor antenna on my roof.
Well, I would have somebody check it out because there's nothing wrong with Channel 4 signal.
Okay.
Trust me.
Thank you.
Okay. 22 past 1 at WIOD. We have an open line in Dade now, 751-9463. Steve has open phones this afternoon. Tomorrow he's doing Condos Part 2.
Yeah?
Which I assume is about the thing with the 9-year-old girl, Jamie, which is one of the... You know, he had a caller the other day, a couple of days ago, and I almost drove off the road. This guy, well, you know, we all get these wacko callers, but this guy was so outrageous, and he's saying to Steve, well, why should you be concerned about this? This isn't any of your business, and who cares? You know, if those people don't want that girl there, why should anybody be concerned about it? I mean, here's a girl whose mother died of cancer, who's got no place to go, and the people she's living with, the relatives she's living with, they can't sell a condo, and they certainly can't afford the rent or to buy another place till they, you know, get rid of that one and get out from under that payment. She was on the show here. She's as quiet and polite as could be, but they just are obsessed. That certain group of people over at that place are obsessed with driving these people out. And one of the most disgusting things, and one of them, that is such a perfect example. That's the epitome of what's wrong with this town. That story epitomizes everything that's wrong with this town. Is that nasty? And this guy who writes me the letter, you know, who's such a maven on the program because he allegedly has listened for 2 weeks. If the shoe fits, pal, wear it, okay? As I've said a million times, you always have to do this disclaimer. You can be 20 and be an old fart mentally, okay? And we've got some of those. And you can be 70 or 80 and be a living and breathing decent person who cares about people. But unfortunately, we've only got a small minority of those. I'd say maybe 20-30% of our so-called senior citizens behave like that, and another very large percentage of them act like barbarians. And that story that Steve's been doing a good job in covering with that little girl, that is just horrendous. That a group of people could be so without conscience.
Well, I hate to tell that man, but that story was on page 3A of yesterday's USA Today.
Right.
So there are some people
making the national
in it,
news.
You bet. With a picture.
And so the old fart douchebag South Florida syndrome is making national news, and it has on and off for a long time. The Pomerantz family was on 60 Minutes. Remember a few years ago? I had them on the air. And it was a similar kind of story. They had a baby. They made the cardinal sin of having a baby. And even though the family that lived next door to them in that development, and these were single-family houses, but in a development, and the family that lived next door to them had a pet monkey. And what the people who lived there basically said, in paraphrasing, but what they said, the monkey's okay, the baby's got to go.
What was the complaint?
It was a human baby.
Oh, that was
that
it?
Thing. Oh, yeah. Okay. If it would have been a baby baboon, I guess it would have been okay. Like a baboon in the box. Got a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Joseph is a douchebag.
Okay.
And I've been calling these old farts douchebags and assholes for many years before.
Yeah, well, you see, obviously, I'm the one who's influencing all the... If anybody out there is old enough to drive, then their attitudes aren't going to be shaped and molded by Neil Rogers or anybody on the radio. They've developed those attitudes based on personal experience.
Let me tell you how popular you are, though. Out in Aspen a couple weeks ago, in a tavern with about 150 people there, I was playing a tape that you had sent me about a year ago. Unplugged the headphones and started playing out loud. Half the joint started singing along with the music, and I bet you half in the whole place had heard of Neil Rogers had listened to him now.
In Aspen, yeah, we're big out of town. We're gigantic out of town.
Huge.
Yeah, in town we suck the big one.
Now, did you say it was a tape you got about a year ago?
Yeah, it was when y'all were
Probably
still
when
on
you
AM.
sent them, yeah.
You know, you're the first person, sir, I've ever spoken with who ever received that tape.
Oh, it's a great tape.
Well, I only sent out about 2,000 or 3,000, but you're the first person who's ever admitted that he actually received it.
Now, see, it was worth waiting for,
Great
wasn't it?
tape.
Don't you feel
I'm
better?
so glad you called.
You made his years, sir.
Yes, sir.
But, on the cable business, up in Boca, of course, Boca has a cable network up here, Comcast, and we have a pretty lousy cable reception, so we called a technician to come out and check it out. We have a house that's I had it pre-wired before the cable was even put in the neighborhood. It's a fairly large house, and all the cable comes into a junction box and then spliced and goes to all the rooms. This guy comes out and cuts all the splices off, says we're all illegal, even though there's only a couple TVs in the house, and we have 2 of the boxes. So he cut about $500 worth of stuff out of the house before anyone knew what he was doing, just to say we were not supposed to be hooked up that way.
Great.
And then they tell us that we would have to pay $6 for each line that was spliced in per month, whether it had a TV on it or not. Nice people.
Yep.
Okay.
Have a great day, pal.
Bye.
Bye. 127 at WIOD. I think we got the point across, right? I think the almost universal consensus is that the cable companies collectively suck, okay? And that some may be worse than others, but they have monopolies in their own little communities, and, you either take their service or you put up your roof antenna or your rabbit ears, or if you're real lucky, you put up your rotor antenna. Remember the days?
Oh,
I can remember I lived in Marshall, Michigan, of all places, many years ago. I hope this doesn't inspire any Marshall, Michigan calls so you get upset. But I had, because Marshall we didn't have our own TV station. I know that comes as a shock, but it was a town of just a few thousand people. And I had a rotor antenna on the roof, okay? And now to me, that was exciting. And I had a 23-inch, I don't know, RCA or Sylvania, at that time, a really expensive, good color TV set, And, boy, that was exciting. Stations from Battle Creek and Kalamazoo. And once in a great while, one of those Detroit channels would skip in, too. Not real clearly,
kidding.
but, and I'll never forget, those were the days when you would, turn the rotor and try to pick up something, and you get a real fuzzy, it was kind of like watching Channel 6 on certain days, that real fuzzy, distant picture, you just see like shadows, but it was so exciting because you were actually in contact almost with civilization. It's kind of like living here. Miami, hello.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
I'll be damned.
I live in Key Largo, by the way.
Well, good luck to you, sir.
And listen.
Just remember, life is, not perfect.
I took your advice and moved out of Miami.
Oh, you were in Miami before?
Right.
Like I said, you're heading in the right direction, pal.
90 more miles, I'll be there.
That's right. Fidel will have something waiting for you.
Anyhow, do what I did. I had Adelphia cable, and I just quit. Like you did with the Herald. Just say no. Send it back. Turn it off. And if enough people do that, sooner or later the price will come down.
I understand, but they're not going to do it. See, I would love to start a campaign like that, but first of all, maybe I'll do it in another month when I've got my satellite dish back up and got it kosher and approved and the permit and everything, and I've got that back. Because I would be delighted to give up the cable, because I got a rabbit ears that I can pick up the local channels for what I need to see, And if you want the network programs, they're up there on the satellite anyway, unscrambled. I mean, anybody can pick those up, and a lot more clearly than you'll get them off the cable. But I'm just afraid that they're really, everybody talks a good game, but how many people really want to give it up? They don't want to go back to the days. And not only that, but most people, especially if they live in a fairly new residence, they don't have an antenna system. All they got is the cable. So if you take it off, they got nothing. They got snow.
Well, when I quit is when they decided to charge us for public television, Channel 2.
How can they do that?
They can't do that.
They did it. Call them up. If you were receiving it, it was an additional charge because they took it off. If you had the box, they took it off on the box. So their idea was, we'll just disconnect the cable and hook up to your regular antenna to get Channel 2.
Oh, that's great. That's ridiculous, because Channel 2 has got some signal problems in some parts of town, too. They don't have the best signal.
But I figured that's public TV.
Yeah, that's supposed to belong to us, yeah.
So I
well, basically, they can do whatever the hell they want. Like Tom said, they just go ahead and do it, and the counties just look the other way and wink. And
they charge you $10 to return. If they pick your box up, it's $10.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you bring it to them, they still charge you the $10. Get that when you return your box, the $75 box. So I just gave it back to them. To hell with them. I don't need them, and apparently they don't need us.
Evidently. Okay, well, we'll see what feedback we get. I'm a little nervous about that because I don't think most people would cancel.
Well, you'd be surprised at things you can do. I got 6 kids now we got rid of TV.
Yeah. Oh, hey, listen, I'm not suggesting that there's all that much great stuff on there, but when you've gone out and paid a lot of money for TVs and, all the equipment that goes along with it, you just... you want something to be on there.
Well, the last caller, if they'd have cut $500 wiring out of my new house, I'd have cut his hands off.
Yeah.
Right where he stayed. All right, Neil.
Okay, good luck to you, sir. 131 at WIOD. We got a bunch of nasty folks. Not nasty, I mean surly. Not nasty. They deserve to be hostile because they're getting screwed royally by the cable companies. And if there's anybody at Hollywood Cablevision listening as I speak right now, my mother gets the worst picture and has the worst service in the history of mankind. See, I told that story a week or two ago about what great service I get because they got a note on my folder that says, this is Neil Rogers and he's on the radio. And if he calls, handle him with kid gloves and run out there and make sure everything is wonderful so he'll say nice things about us. And I still don't,
Right.
I still think that Continental Cable, which formerly was American Cable, sucks and blows, okay? They really do. Horrendous. And although, some days I'll come on and I'll say, well, the picture quality has gotten a lot better. You've heard me say that. And then a couple of days later, if you wait long enough, it'll deteriorate and get back to being crappy again. So I hesitate to give them too many compliments. Now, the Weather Channel yesterday, for those who like to sit for hours watching the Weather Channel, was fantastic. Nobody watches it for more than a couple of minutes at a time, tops. Some people never watch it at all. That one comes in crystal clear. 10 has its bad days, okay? There are days when 10 on my cable is not so great.
That's crazy.
Does that make sense to you?
No.
Miami, hello.
Yes, how you doing?
Okay.
Boy, the show is pretty serious today.
Pretty heavy, yeah. Well, tomorrow we'll lighten up again.
Boy, I don't know if my call's going to fit in. I mean, you're pretty serious for a guy who used to live in...
It's 1:32. I don't know what he was going to say, but I had that tone in his voice, and I'm not, I'm just not really ready for it, whatever it was, pal.
You can hit that off, but you can't even see your hand.
I know.
It's faster than
I don't know what he was coming up with, but I just had a feeling that voice sounded awfully familiar to me. Anyway, April Wortham is standing by. She's got some incredible uplifting news headlines. What do we got? Probably a few drug deals and a couple of drug busts and some hookers on the boulevard and a couple of murders, a few bodies in the bay.
All our favorites.
Just the usual run-of-the-mill crap that makes us a great world-class city like Calcutta, and we'll come right back. What is there to talk about?
Now, don't go far with that.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
That's mine.
The old wild man's
What's
got
there to
penthouse
talk
now.
about? A whole new world of talk
a whole
radio
new
in Miami.
world. WOLD. I mentioned that. I said, are they still on the air? And he said, here's to the grapevine that they're still on the air. Oh, I'm glad you're here.
Uh-oh.
I'm so glad he's here. You know why? Because a very, very good friend of his has led us down the garden path. Now, it's just basic. One of the things you don't do when you're in this business, you don't go on the air and promise something and then don't deliver.
Never.
Now, you can make an explanation and say, for whatever the reason.
I know what's coming.
Do you?
Now, this is a very good friend of yours with whom you have this incestuous relationship.
I know what's coming.
And he called here and nobody requested it, nobody begged, nobody wanted anything. And he volunteered, and he teased it, even promoted that he was going to be calling us, and he was going to give us this big expose on WOLD, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Tell all.
And then, of course, there was an unfortunate thing that occurred, and that was an excuse for a week because there were people who were upset, and let's not, rub salt in the wounds, and a week went by. Now another week and a half has gone by. And I have mentioned on the air on numerous occasions that I think we're being shined by your friend, Mr. Fowler.
Well, as a matter of fact, I spoke to him about this.
That's a shock.
Week.
That's a great surprise. Who is now saying on the air up there, by the way, when he isn't stealing our get. By the way, his producer called Tom Jicha the other day, just after we announced Tom was going to be on here. Would like Tom to come up.
You don't mean Doug Young.
Doug Young, who used to be here, who used to just love my show. Exactly. You can put all three fingers down your throat. But anyway, what was I saying before I interrupted myself?
Who's listening right now? I just mentioned that in passing.
Oh, of course.
If you want to say hi to Doug.
Hi, Doug. How you doing?
Well, we're sure glad you're not here anymore, Doug, okay? We're sure glad you're not here.
Now, don't say that.
Well, you're a great guy, and Steve has got his arm down his throat, now to his elbow, to his armpit.
Doug, don't believe this one.
Well, look at the boob on that. Huh?
Incredible.
Just one in the middle of her chest. I've never seen anything. Oh, there's
no, there's the other one.
She's hiding the other one. God, but anyway, so what happened with our good friend Lee? Just put away the pictures there.
Fluffy, I love
cute. Yeah.
Nice.
Who's that other one? Was that Barbara Bush?
Oh, no, come on. Please, you'll make me lose my lunch. This is lovely.
That is I can see now. There's no face on the body on the right there, but that's a great body.
Is that not a great body?
Yeah. I have impeccable taste. I mean,
you do.
Yeah. I really do.
I'm starting to wonder about
anything. No, trust me, it doesn't do anything for me, but I can. Look, we've been through this a million times. When you see someone or something that is physically attractive, even though the macho thing in most males is, well, you're not going to admit it, you know it.
I
It's
agree
like
with that.
Just
Well,
as
I can
Berger
admit.
said. Didn't
I can
didn't
admit
Maureen
that.
Berger say that he doesn't know what pornography is? He can't define
But he
it.
knows
He
it when he
when
sees it. No, I see men that look attractive to me all the time. I think, muscular
That
men. I
look
can tell when a
attractive to you.
man.
Oh, and that woman who called you yesterday about the bodybuilding women, she was right. I don't get that at all.
I
What
wish
do
I
you
could
see that's attractive about that? They are grotesque. They do look like. They don't look like, in fact, bodybuilding anything. Bodybuilding men are grotesque. I find them just absolute horrendous turnoff with all those layers and layers.
Yeah, I find the men
It's
grotesque,
sickening.
but the women, I can't. You can't explain these things. Why do you like brunettes instead of blondes? It's taste as a sexual
very
turn on is an
subjective thing,
indefinable
no question
thing.
about it.
And I racked
That's what
my
Eleanor
brain.
Roosevelt said.
Because see, I like women with large breasts, and the bodybuilders don't have breasts, but the legs. I mean, the legs are.
I bet you a lot of them are
unreal.
Orientals too. Now you notice how we've gotten away. We've drifted away from the salient point here, which was.
He would not. I
By the
will
way,
tell you what
that
I know.
jackass that called yesterday, Le Dome, that guy, I'd like to just take him.
I
with
heard
a,
him.
with a ball-peen
I heard
hammer.
him,
All
yeah.
those suits out there,
Correcting
man.
your grammar.
Another one of these suits. Le Dome, yeah.
By the way, Jitka was asking, did you meet your wife Lori at a promotion you were doing, a radio station?
No, she called me on the air.
You met her on the air?
She called me the first time I ever heard her
wait a
voice.
minute, you
She
weren't
called me
trolling on the air, were you?
I wasn't trolling.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was.
I want to make sure.
I had just broken up with another woman who'd been the love of my life, and I was kind of moaning about it on the air. She called up and volunteered to console me. And the rest is radio
He's been
history.
Consoling you ever since.
Yes.
Anyway, speaking of consoling, let's get back to this story here. And you spoke with Lee just the other day, and he said,
I can only tell you what I know, okay? And I'll be honest with you, he's not going to call. And I asked him why, and he was obscure in his answer, so I'm not exactly sure the why of it, but he did have a change of heart.
Mm-hmm.
A change of heart. Now, we're going to be getting together on Sunday.
Is that a nice way of saying that he lied to the audience? That he
No,
built, built us up?
No, it was a genuine.
gave us a big
I think
come on.
he had planned on doing it. Now, Lee doesn't lie.
Well, then why doesn't he just call us and
The man
say,
goes to mass every morning at 7 o'clock. He
Oh,
does
so he
not
would never lie.
No, he does not lie.
Oh my gosh! Like the times that Jicha and I caught him with the format changes, and he would he would go on the air that afternoon or that morning and say they're hallucinating, and there's absolutely no changes. No,
He would not lie outside of the business.
Outside the business. When they
Well, that's
approached
what we're
me,
talking about.
when they approached me to go to work over there, and thank God it didn't work out, because when we started talking money is when I stopped hearing from them.
Right.
And by the way, they denied that they ever offered me a job, which was another lie. But when he approached me, I said to him, what are these rumors about Bev Smith going to Orlando? Because somebody had called on the air, or Tom or somebody.
Right.
Absolute untrue. And she went up there to visit somebody, and she filled in for one day, and this and that. And like 2 weeks later, there she was on the air in Orlando. I mean, when Lee tells you something in a business is untrue, you can go to the bank. In fact, surer than your bet against Syracuse the other day on LSU. Even more certain than that would be to bet that Lee would be hedging the truth.
You're being unfair because you understand when a person is a program director and operations manager, part of their job is to
They can be
release,
evasive. Oh, wait a minute. They can be evasive, but they don't have to outright lie about it.
Well, if they're evasive, it's like saying yes.
No, it's not. They can just say, I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's a lie if they do, right? I mean, a lie is a lie is a lie, right?
Well, it depends on the degree of the lie.
I mean, at least Lee lies directly.
That is true. When he lies, boy, he does a good one. He doesn't do a bad one, a little white one. He does a big lie when he does it.
But off the air, he does not lie. He's a man of tremendous
sure of
honor
that?
off the air. Yes,
You're
I'm
positive
telling you, I
about
know
that.
this man very well, and he does not lie off the air.
Just how well?
Very well. He's like one of my best friends.
What do you think, Lee?
What do you think, Lee? Huh? You don't have to use the phone. Just talk loud. Just open the window.
I am going to see him this Sunday, and I will find out the reason, and I will report back.
Well, didn't it strike you bizarre that he had come on the air and spontaneously
I was
of his
looking
own,
forward
of his
to it
own free
myself.
will, and he volunteered? I think somebody got to him. I think,
that is a
I
possibility.
think somebody from WOLD probably gave him a call and said, look, if you want a good reference in the
That's
future, or
exactly
if
right,
you're,
these
value
people-
your life or something, whatever.
The tentacles of management over there go way out.
Yeah, Lee knows
Don't
too
slip
much.
and say testicles, because I don't think they got any over there, but tentacles I think is correct.
See, Lee knows too much.
Lee knows it all. Lee knows every skeleton in the WOLD
Knows too
closet.
much.
Oh, in that closet. There's a big
He
closet
knows
over
the
there.
inside.
Wow.
Every
So
corner.
anyway, I said to Tom, are they still on the air? This goes back 15 minutes to answer your question about what you missed about radio. And
Yes.
we talked to Sonny called in. Sonny Fox called in.
Hey,
and,
how's he doing?
He's okay. I don't know
Did he
what's
get?
going
Was
on.
part of the problem he had with management over there that he came on your show? Was that a
No.
problem? No. Okay. I
No,
was
he was,
wondering
they've
about
been trying for months, evidently, to squeeze him out. You know how that is. You're doing real well, but they don't want you because they're paying you too much money, and that kind of stuff. I can relate to it.
Unbelievable.
So they squeezed him out. And not only that, now they're going to try. Tom had an article about it in the paper this morning. They're going to try to enforce a 1-year non-compete. Not only are they saying that
Right.
not only are they saying that he quit, which he denies doing, and his attorney's involved, so he can't say too much. But now they're going to say, well, you got a 1-year non-compete in the market, so good luck to you. You're going to have to leave, which is baloney. It'll never stand up in court.
Mm-mm.
Now, how long did you have to sit out? 3 months?
3 months.
And they paid you. They had to pay you.
Right? No, not the 3 months that I sat out. I didn't. No, they didn't pay me. But it was nice. I like those 3 months. I like those 3 month clauses in the contract. Gives you a nice vacation between
jobs. I think
jobs.
that 3 months is about as long, if my memory is correct, that the courts in this state will uphold a non-compete, no matter what it says in there. If it says a year, 5 years, because it's a right-to-work state.
Sure.
And I think basically that 3 months is about as long as they'll go. So I don't think you'll have a problem.
So what did Tom say about radio? I mean, it's a whole new
That's
ball
it.
game.
There's
What do you mean there's nothing?
What is going on? The book will be out next
We're
Tuesday.
going on. So that's why I was wondering why you didn't have
There's-
Tom on next Wednesday after the book came out. That would have been kind of fun. Maybe you'll have him back, because you do those great...
Well, the primary purpose today, I figured, now maybe we were wrong, and maybe we would let, you book the guest, but my feeling was that with all the channel changes and everything, and with cable and all the different bizarre stuff going on, that it would be appropriate today to answer everybody's question. And the amazing part of it is most of the conversation was about cable and satellite dishes.
Yeah, no, I heard that.
The people aren't nearly as confused about the channel changes as the TV stations think they are, okay? I mean, it's not that hard. You flip around a couple of spots. I mean, if you're stupid to begin with. If you're not stupid, you should know by now where to find it to begin with. But if you're really dumb, you flip around a couple of channels and you'll find whatever the hell you're looking for,
See, I don't relate to that too much because I don't watch a lot of TV.
I
Other
don't
than
either.
I watch
Sports,
the
I watch a lot of
and
sports.
The movies on the pay channels. Other
Right,
than that,
and that's about it.
Now, are you doing a show on movies next week? Are you still going to do that?
We are having this fellow Eric Bogosian on, who is the star of the new film talk show that's opening next week, and we're going to do 2 hours with him and talking about talk show, and then 2 hours on Rain Man, which I thought would be interesting. And Roger Hurlburt will be here, and I ran into Jack Sturdy last night, and he will be there too, I believe.
Oh. Because we were gonna ask you whether you would like Bill Cosford or not, but it seems like you've already got it covered.
Well, no, you know something I was
Wait
going
a minute, let's slow down just a bit. Let's slow down a minute.
We ought to be able to get 15 minutes out of this.
That was an incredible response. I mean, it was like a throwaway. Now, you were in here yesterday attacking poor Mr. Sturdy.
What? No, I'm not going to stand for that. Absolutely not. I said that I was...
Now, am I hallucinating again? See, you've been hanging around Fowler too long.
No,
That's your problem.
wait.
You accuse people of hallucinating when they're just telling it like it is.
I must set the record straight, because while Jack does not listen to the show, he has lots of friends that do. I didn't attack him. I just said...
does?
I just said that I didn't think he was coming on because there was some confusion with Sharon, and he said...
To whom was he coming on?
Coming on the show.
Oh, I see.
And I was just hoping that it wasn't because he was upset with
the
you.
The movie is called Talk Radio. What did he call it? Talk
Radio. What do they call it? Talk show?
Talk show.
No, talk radio.
Well,
talk show. 6 of 1.
It's funny, he's not upset at Neil. He's upset at me, and it's Neil that said all the things that he's upset about, but it's me he's mad at.
I've never said anything about Jack.
Oh, no, never. But remember what
he doesn't have a sense of humor, and even the people over there at the Weekly News like to needle him.
Come the round.
Because he just is overly sensitive and ridiculous.
Well, he may be sensitive, but one of the basic reasons that I have Jack on my show, other than the fact that I like him very much,
you
is
talk about
his
Tom
sense of
Cruise
humor.
movies?
I mean, I think
no,
he's
not on
funny
the air. He doesn't have a sense of humor. He's terrible. He probably would have a great show if you would keep him all. But again, far be it from me.
Are you going to talk about Tom Cruise movies?
We're going to talk. No, we're just going to talk about.
Well, they're going to do 2 hours on
right.
Rain Man.
Well, then
so
it is
naturally,
Rain Man.
that's why he would. No, I take it back. He would have to be there. He is the definitive Tom Cruise critic.
You have got to see this Film Talk Radio. We'll have a lot to talk about when you say it, because all of the things that you say about the audience and stuff like that, it's all in this film. I mean, this guy had a.
So you thought it was good? I thought you said it was bad.
Good is not the word I would use. It was
morbid.
Sick and morbid and just incredibly upsetting and traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And this host was a real scumbag. I mean, just a really, like people say I am, but I'm not really. I mean, just this vicious,
no, like
nasty,
people say I am, but I'm not.
Yeah,
really.
both of us, really. This hostile,
I heard that one
nasty
Buttlicker
guy.
yesterday. Boy, he is so chronic. The one that said that Jeff Charles would have been a much better choice before a lead-in.
Right.
Who couldn't buy a job if his life depended on it, who filled in for Steve for 3 days, which turned into 1 day, was it?
2 days.
2 days, yeah.
2 days.
And they uninvited him on the 3rd day because they had so many complaints, and what he was doing was in such poor taste and such grotesque
But a much
fashion.
superior lead-in. No
yeah,
question.
been a much
There's
better
no question,
lead-in.
is there about
Absolutely.
It's much better having a guy who's going to get dumped off the air after 2 days.
But you got to say, it was so morbid and so horrible and so disgusting That, and in fact, I'm going to talk about it a little bit on the air today. I wonder if I'm, I kept saying, Laura.
See, when you come
I saw
on
it
the
with
air,
Laura, she said that maybe she said I'm that way, and I've got to try to figure out.
When you come on the air and you're doing a thing, and Lycus is guilty of this too. Although Lycus has got some other talent. I think he's overrated, but he works for this company, so I got to say he's got some talent. But you come on here and you do things that are so obviously, I don't want to use the word contrived because we joke about your contrived debates, but I mean just opinions that are contrived, like, well, the flag sucks, let's burn the flag, and stuff that is just obviously...
Women that are married that don't work are whores.
Yeah.
Prostitutes.
Just designed to shock the audience and to try to get some response. It's like that old Buck Henry thing that he did on Saturday Night Live when he played, the talk show host who couldn't get any calls, right? And he sat there with the phones. He says, "Okay, let's talk about beating puppies and killing, murdering babies." And then he finally got a call and it was the wrong number or something like that. And that's what Jeff Charles reminds me of. That same kind of thing. And Lycus used to do that too, about hating the flag and
let's release
despising your mother and let's let Manson out of
there is
jail.
A difference though with Charles. He really believes that stuff. Jeff is in outer
but it
space.
doesn't come across that way. It comes across very contrived,
for real,
and just ridiculous.
Which is really scary. I mean, I'd like to believe it was contrived.
But he'd be a hell of a lead-in. And if he ever, who's he to knock that Alan Burke? I heard that one too. I got news for you. If you rented the Mount Palomar telescope, my friend, you couldn't find Alan's numbers. Okay, that's the kind of numbers he had.
But the dean is a friend of WIOD.
He's working. He's got a job now. We don't have to say that anymore. Okay, he's got a full-time job in Philly. And I'm sure that all the 90-year-old plus folks are delighted to have somebody to speak to now, right? They can't just talk to Dr. Bernard Meltzer forever.
The dean is a nice man.
He is a pussycat. He really is totally... Now, there's another guy, totally different off the air than he is on the air. When I'm on the air, nobody else needs to be on the air.
Now, Sharon's going to get upset you're making fun of her dean now.
She loves Alan.
No, she does not love Alan.
You know the interesting thing about this? You want to hear the great part about this show? The talk show host in this particular movie is having an affair with his female producer.
Interesting.
And
what are you trying to tell us?
That was the thing that upset Sharon the most when she saw the film. She said, they were having an affair, and they were
Is there some kind of an announcement that's coming here, or what?
No, not at all.
You sure?
No, Sharon and I are buddies.
Sharon's as cute as a bug. She's terrific.
And every guest that comes in here
she lives on a boat,
tries to seduce her and is in love with her, and from the wrestlers to Mr. X, everybody is trying to get inside her pants, but she and I are just friends.
Don't say that Mr. X is trying to get inside.
I wouldn't lie to you.
Is that not
thrilled? She's right there.
And she's thrilled about it.
She's got her finger down her throat to her elbow, to her armpit.
Now, you're making that up.
No, I'm not making that up. She's making gagging... Oh, yeah, there she goes. Her tongue is down to her knee.
Well, just wait till you meet Mr. Z.
Oh, there goes breakfast.
Norm Kent's in love with her. They're all in love with her. The wrestlers that I brought in here, Tully Blanchard.
152 at WIOD. Can we talk about the melting pot for a moment or two? Well, I'll be damned, brothers. It's 156 already. Should we take one more call?
One more.
Well, it's from Coral Springs. It's got to be great. Hello?
Yeah, hi, Neil.
Like I told you, it's a great call, right?
Yeah, great call. What do you think?
From a great American.
Great American. Actually, I'm not an American. I'm a Canadian.
Well, really?
I know. I knew it was coming. I live in a condo.
Now, wait a minute. You don't sound like a Canadian, though.
I've been here 10 years. What can you do?
When did you get out of Canada?
I left there when I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a chance to live here for 10 years and really get depressed.
Yeah, I know. I learned to drive down here, too, so you really can't make that much fun of me. Anyway, I got to talk to the bird for a second.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to call you yesterday. I didn't get through. It was about big-breasted Oriental women.
Yeah.
Okay. If there is one, her name is Kim. She lives in Pompano.
Really?
This is the finest girl you ever saw.
Kidding.
Yep. In fact, anyone who wants to see her...
Now, wait a minute. What does she do? Does she do something professionally?
No, she doesn't do anything professionally, but 9 out of 10 weeks...
Wait a minute. What do you mean Kim is part American? That's what Nick... How do you know Kim?
Is she part American?
He's just assuming that.
No, she's not part American.
Okay, she's full Oriental, right?
Full Oriental, yeah. 9 out of 10 times you can see her at Summers on the weekend. And this is how I met her. She is gorgeous. I thought I'd just pass that news
Now, do
on to
you have like a passing relationship with her, or
No,
you're
I've just met her. I saw her at the wet T-shirt contest, actually.
Oh, yeah, that probably gave you some pretty good insight.
Yeah, good insight on that. Anyway, I just thought I'd pass that on to you. And I really enjoy your show.
I never heard of such a thing. That's the first one.
I'll guarantee you they're going to be crowded as hell this weekend.
You can be witness for yourself.
All right.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks a lot,
Thanks
pal.
a lot.
Bye.
Boy, I'm so glad you took one more
Didn't I
call.
tell you it was going to be a real
Incredible.
winner? That was fantastic.
It sure was.
And we not only found our full-breasted Oriental young lady, but we actually even have, like, zeroed in on her.
Yeah, and so it's possible. I didn't think it was possible. Now,
Are you going to be over there this weekend to check it out?
Possible, but let me just say that that was not a complaint yesterday. It was just an observation.
Oh, yeah.
We're not complaining.
Oh, in fact, far from it. I'm going to say it again.
Right.
The idea, this notion that people have to have gigantic anything, kind of organs or mammaries or whatever, is ridiculous. In fact, if they're too big, it becomes a turnoff, I think, to most people. Now, there are some people who got a fetish, and they could never be too big. They could be... A woman could have 2 watermelons, okay?
Fine.
Or a guy could be walking around with a fire hose, you know. And there just are some people out there that are obsessed with that. But you know what they say, different strokes,
Is that what they say?
Well, however that goes, okay? Well, listen, that's going to do it for today. Again, we thank Tom Jicha for a good 3 hours.
Job,
and Steve is going to be coming along next to, what did he say he was going to
do? Mop up the mess or something. What did he say? No, open
he
phones.
wasn't talking about the stuff on the floor, then, was he? Because he and Zagacki have been feuding about the coleslaw.
Yeah, no, he's got an open phone day.
No, I understand that, but didn't he give us a hint, or I guess I'm dreaming, okay? I must be hallucinating.
No,
well, it was all that talk about Lee Fowler that gets me, that gets me just wild. I think, Lee, you owe us an explanation. Not an apology, because you're certainly entitled to change your mind, but I think that you owe us at least, even if you make it up, even if you lie through your teeth. I
Do you
think
hear that, Lee?
It's just unbecoming to a man of your talents and your notoriety and the tremendous... He's gotten more notoriety just calling in on this show than he ever does on his own show.
Excellent
So, again, it's just an open invitation. We'll be waiting with bated breath for tomorrow. We have something unusual tomorrow, 4 open hours.
Really?
Which is very rare on this show. So, Lee, we'll keep that line 8. I know that's also unusual. It might be open from time to time. We'll try to keep it open for you as much as possible. And I know the whole audience will be holding their collective breaths. Have a great day. Stay tuned for Steve. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 here on 610 WIOD.